Let me be clear. You are entitled to nothing. You are entitled to nothing. Say my name.
You are entitled to nothing. Before we get started with today's show, I gotta say this. There's no way this is getting monetized. So, if you're feeling generous with super chats, that would be a good way to fund this show, because I know damn well what I'm about to do is gonna get kicked. All right, you asked for it. You animals wanted it. And yes, we're going to talk about birth control, too. You guys. You make me do this. You make me do this. It's not that I want to do this. All right. I'll wait till the applause dies down. Thank you very much.
Extreme approach that you are admittedly taking. And then there's also just ordinary people that might not be comfortable with the language change. And it just is awkward. And so they're afraid of not being courteous or being accepting. So there's like these two things. There's actually combating and not being, you don't like transgender, the idea of transgender. That's different than pronouns. But then just for most people, it's just feeling a little bit awkward and unsure and not wanting to hurt or offend somebody.
Well, why is it important for educators to teach about gender identity, gender presentation, and pronouns? Why do you think that's important?
Because there is a difference. There is biological sex, and a lot of times people are conflating sex and gender. So there's biological sex, and then there's gender, and that's a social construct in the sense that just because you're born biologically a female doesn't mean you automatically want to vacuum, for instance, which is usually a feminine activity or conflated that way. And so it's this idea of giving children in age-appropriate ways an understanding that that these things aren't set in stone. Gender identity is not tied to biology.
You say that gender's not set in stone.
It's not.
What do you mean?
I mean that's just factually incorrect, saying that. So you have biology is the chromosomal makeup and reproductive organs and all of that. And so that would be sort of the nature side of things. But the nurture side of things is where we see more of gender identities.
She began by saying that my view is extreme. Okay, so the view that every single person on Earth has held up until 15 seconds ago is extreme. And the view that almost everyone does right now still hold is extreme, apparently, according to her. But there is this, they are conflating gender and sex, because on one hand they say, well, you got your biological sex, but then your gender is whatever social construct. But then they turn around and say that trans women are women. So a man who identifies with the gender, the social construct of womanhood, actually is a woman. So if you can laugh all you want, but this is a logical problem. You are conflating sex and gender just by saying that. So that's the problem.
There's biological sex, and then there is gender identity. Part of me wants to ask why you care so much, because it's really not that big of a deal.
Can I answer that? I'd love to answer that question. I care about the truth. So basic truth matters. I want to live in a society where people care about the truth and we're grounded in truth. Right. I care about children, and these insane ideas about gender are being foisted on kids, and that bothers me quite a bit. I care about the women who are having their opportunities stolen from them. I care quite a bit, yeah.
You are
a cheap piece of you-know-what. I'm not going to let that slide. Well, looks like our good friend Matt Walsh is back in the news again. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but he is now, I guess the Daily Wire has decided that, I think they decided quite a while ago, they were going to do a documentary, I guess. It's supposed to be coming out, I think, next week, and this is Matt Walsh's thing. And apparently what Matt Walsh has done is finish him. Oh, God, I need that soundbite. what Matt has done is decided to take it upon himself to go around the country and ask that question. What is a woman? And he was dropping this on Twitter not too long ago. And I countered it by asking, what is a man? And we answered that before. And don't give me the Castlevania thing. Thank you very much. Hi, how are you? My name is ROLLO TOMASSI. I'm the Rational Male author. Yeah, Matt Walsh. Do you think so? I'm a truth seeker. I'm gonna probably disagree with you, halfway disagree with you here. I think that a lot of the stuff that he has done, maybe he's been listening to my show, because what have I been saying for the last, 6 months, 8 months? What have I certainly been saying since we decided to drop the NFT is that we need voices in the public domain. We need voices in the mainstream that are accurate, that are red-pilled, for lack of a better term, whatever. We need voices and documentaries, and we need accuracy is what we need. And I said this before. I've said this on the Masculine Geek. I've said this on this show. I've said this on Rule Zero, like about a gajillion times. There's a Rolloism about a gajillion times that we need good representation in the mainstream for the red pill. If if people are insisting on thrusting the red pill out into the mainstream, we at least give us somebody who is a shining good representative of that. And yeah, is that ROLLO TOMASSI? Yeah, I would think so too. But even if it's not me, we need somebody who is motivated by actual objective truth, who has an obligation to objective truth. And quite honestly, I don't think Matt Walsh is that guy. I want to like him. I really do. I really want to like, where'd you go? Here you are. Truth seeker. I really want to like Matt Walsh. I really do. But he's very extraordinarily blue pill when it comes to women. That's number one. And now you see guys thrusting themselves into the mainstream because it's the new hotness. And yes, we're going to talk about Bill Maher today because he's one of those guys that sort of put himself out there. Now, people have told me in the past, Bill Maher he's already red pill. He just has to keep it hush hush because, has to play the game. He's on HBO. He doesn't want to lose his contract or whatever it is. It's similar to me getting frustrated with guys like, certainly Peterson, but like Pinker and others, let's just say. Hector Garcia is another great one, who I like very well, but they always have to get their feminist street cred before they leave the venue that the TED Talk that they're speaking at, because if they don't, they know they're going to get canceled or they're going to lose their tenure. And honestly, I think that Matt is sort of directing himself at something that's safe. And gender pronouns, gender issues, transgenderism, a male swimmer being the number one female swimmer on planet Earth. Well, what's that? We talked about that last week, right? William Thomas is Leah Thomas. And he did exactly what everybody told him to do. He chased excellence and he ignored women. Or at least, he ignored them in the biblical sense anyways. So, but now, and he's a success. I don't know why you like the man up, the man uposphere isn't just holding him up as this bright shining example of like a success story of their own, because he did exactly what they said. So I was looking at Matt Walsh's most recent. I subscribe, by the way, to Daily Wire. I subscribe to a lot of different like aggregate news sources. That's one of them. And I know that Matt Walsh is part of. I know he's part of Daily Wire. I know he's got his own thing going. I don't know. Is Matt Walsh part of the Blaze? I don't know if he's under the Blaze as well. I've seen him on PragerU. He's definitely this sort of evangelical. He's been a writer for a while. By the way, I like Matt Walsh has been on my radar for quite some time before he became Matt Walsh, right? He used to be a writer, I want to say he's an independent writer, but was he like for Newsweek or something like that? Or was it like Washington Post or something? He was for a conservative writership of some sorts, and then sort of, parlayed that into who he is right now. So if you don't know who Matt Walsh is, well, congratulations. I'll try to give you the bonehead explanation of how I understand him anyways. And so he was always the whipping boy, let's just say, for liberal progressive ideologues Rachel Maddow, right? Yeah, that element. Let's just say the Young Turks. Cenk Uygur, I think, does not have any love for. There's no love lost between Cenk and Matt Walsh, most likely. So he goes on Dr. Phil and wants to ask the same question: what is a woman? Well, now it turns out that this was all just sort of a ruse, because now we have a documentary of Matt Walsh running around the country asking that question on college campuses. I don't know, South Beach. I see him with like some chicks in the beach too. He's going to college campuses. He's making the rounds, and just like sort of man on the street, almost like Steven Crowder did when he did, change my mind booth kind of thing. And fascinating, but not unexpected, at least from the trailer that I've seen. Now, I plan to watch the entire thing just so I'm educated on what he was doing. But I think it's kind of disingenuous to go and throw this thing on Dr. Phil and hold himself up as like, it's almost like a Roosh moment, right? I got ambushed by Dr. Oz. No, you didn't. You knew damn well what you were doing when you went into this. I think there's on the trailer for the What is a Woman documentary, he was actually talking to some senator, and I think it might have been a Democrat senator, and I forget the guy's name, but they killed the interview right then and there when he said, "What is a woman?" And now, of course, you've got, and I don't remember her name, but the black woman who is now the nominee for Supreme Court Justice of the United States. Of course, she's now made herself infamous by being asked, "What is a woman?" Give us a objective, concrete definition of what a woman is. And her lame ass phone it in answer is, "I don't know. I'm not a biologist." Well, by that logic, by the "I'm not a biologist" logic, by that logic, I should be able to go to a biologist and he can give me the definition of what a woman is. Correct? Well, at least that's a step in the right direction, because the lady we just saw here, who I have no clue who this woman is, but tattoo neck chick who is teaching your kids, I don't know, on the high school level or the college, certainly most definitely the college level, thinks it's very, very important that she stresses her religious belief that gender is a social construct, because that's what it is. Now, when people go and throw rocks at me and they say, "Rollo, what's the ideology of the red pill?" It's not an ideology. What's the philosophy? I heard Patrick Bet David say that, and I love you, Pat, but I heard Patrick Bet David say that to Fresh and Fit, Myron and Fresh, just this last week. And again, to Myron, you're on your game. It's not a philosophy. It's not an ideology. It's not it's not a system of morality. It is a system. It is a predictive framework. It is a praxeology. And yes, I know what the hell that means. Thank you very much. Yes, I know it was an economics libertarian, this is our term. How dare you take it away from us? No. It's how dare you take it away from science is really where it's coming from, because praxeologies can be a whole lot of things, not just economics. And really, when you think about it, the red pill, the aggregate of knowledge, the database that the red pill represents, in my case, the 20 years that loose science, that aggregating data, what that represents is a praxeology, or a variation of a praxeology, let's just say. And is not to set it apart from philosophy, or what's your virtue? What virtues does the red pill teach? None. It doesn't teach anything. It has a commitment and an obligation to objective truth. And thank you for that super chat, my friend. Rollo, hi, my friend is going through a divorce. Tough times, right? His wife cheated on him without realizing. Her realizing or him realizing? I cheated on you. I can't believe I just did that. Fast forward, he finds out and is devastated. Okay, so he's just finding this out. Your knowledge and advice helped him not off himself. Good. I'm glad he didn't get zeroed out. And by the way, I did include that chapter. I'd have never included zeroed out, the essay for zeroed out. I've never included that in any book, and that's going to be in the 5th book, which, by the way, is upcoming towards the end of next week. So Anthony Johnson and all you haters, get your attack videos ready, because that's what you're going to do. I know exactly how you operate. Your knowledge and advice helped him not off himself and realize it's just the beginning. He's 33. Good for him. At least he see that's a success story, right? That show me what you built. There it is. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate those. I like the I'm gonna say testimonials. I like show me your work, right? You know, when you're in math and they would say, well, you know, you got the right answer, but show me how you got there. Rollo should start a music label, Red Records. You think? I could. It would certainly be more profitable than like playing in a band and playing out at Altura's bar. Did you guys see that last night? I played a gig last night. That's why this is up there and not the, I left the Cytheria at the studio yesterday. Thank you for that. Big ups, a fellow thumbs up. Thank you. And I'm going to be very appreciative of all super chats today, and I will do my best to read all of them. Rollo, don't forget to put the TM in your logo. Oh, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, God forbid we don't do that, right? Rollo sounds like a lunatic. Here it is. Oh, now you got it. Now you have a registered trademark strike if you come at me. So there you have it. Please do. Please use my stuff. Come at me, bro. Hi there, Rollo. Do you think we live in a time of left wing versus red pill? No, I don't. You know where we live? You know what the time we live in? We live in the time of emotionalism versus empiricism. That's what those two are. But thank you for that $20 super chat. I very much appreciate that. And I think, and Doug, this is not, I'm not trying to flame you or anything, because this is a common. God damn it. That's why I hate. What does Rollo always wear a ponytail and a hat? This is why. You want to know why? Because I still got a good measure of hair still up here, and Myron at 31, 32. You know why? You'll notice that Myron's pattern baldness looks kind of like this right here. Nothing but love, Myron, but you know, stress and this is a bad combination. Oh man. Oh, yesterday was a good day. I'm sorry. I had a good gig. It was a lot of fun. Rollo, were you shading Kevin Ray Wilder? Was I shading? No, I don't even who. I don't like I'm being facetious, but yeah, who do I actually care? So anyways, coming back. Thank you for those, by the way. So I am going to get into Bill Maher today because that was the number one thing. I also want to cover male birth control because I know that that's in the news. And yes, you can stop DMing me the articles now. I've got like probably 24 in my inbox now. So yeah, I will get to that today. We're going to talk about that. I don't think I've talked about what, that guitar? That's not what. Wait. I was flexing my guitar last night. That Cytheria, by the way, is about a $5,050, probably about $5,500 now. It's about a $5,500 custom job from Omer Deutsch in Israel. Omer, call me. I want an endorsement. Okay, I gotta put this on there. Wait, that was too good. Yes, it's a Mockingbird Extreme. Actually, I'll save your guitar questions for the end of the show. I'm more than happy to answer those questions. By the way, I did some Instagram live feeds. If you missed those, you should probably subscribe to me or follow me on Instagram. Occasionally, I do those things. I did that yesterday on my way to the rehearsal studio down to the show, and I actually live streamed the gig. So follow me on Instagram, guys. Let's see. All right, that's good enough. So I when I was looking at Matt Walsh's documentary, I mean, I guess I want to hope that his heart and mind is in the right place. But you are never, Matt, if you're watching, and please, I hope you're watching, because I would very much like to have it. You know, I'm not begging to come on your show. You come on my show. I don't care. I would very much love to have this conversation with you. And the reason why I'm reaching out right now to guys like Matt Walsh or to even Bill Maher, really, give me a call. I would love to have this conversation with you as well. Stephen Crowder, anybody out there who wants to have this conversation, come on here. I'll go with you. I don't care, right? If you want to get into this branch of the manosphere, if you want to flex on the mainstream with red pill topics, come correct. You're not coming correct. And I say, well, here's Matt Walsh. He's the champion we needed. We said exactly the same thing about Jordan Peterson when he was having those debates and getting all up in the grill of the students on what I think it was University of Ontario, something like that. He hit the mainstream because he said, no, I'm not going to be forced to use your pronouns. Now he has backpedaled since then, because you ask him now, it's like, oh, well, it's not that I don't want to be a nice guy and use your pronouns. It's that I don't want to be forced to use your pronouns. But see, people didn't make that connection back in 2017 when he was on his way up, right? So now it's like, I don't think that the state should be able to compel speech. That's what his problem was. It's not that he won't call you Zer or whatever, a chandelier, I don't know, whatever you identify as, is that he doesn't want to be forced to do that, because it's random and it's stupid and it's an infringement of free speech. And he's right about that. He was 100% right about that. But it wasn't the gender issue. It was the technically, I guess, civil rights issue, right? I don't want to, I'm not going to be compelled to say, I won't do what you tell me. F you, I won't do what you tell me. And that was really what set Peterson apart and really catapulted him into being Jordan Peterson. And Michaela, by the way, who's proven everything I ever suspected. But I hate being right all the time. I'm just going to leave it at that. But now, why am I getting into this? Well, I'm going to give you a couple of I'm just going to give you some teasers here. I have some irons in the fire that are sort of big names, that are MSM, like mainstream media names, that are asking me for at least my opinion and my input on things. I don't know if you guys are familiar with, well, maybe you are. I was quoted in the Epic Times for 2 articles. Matt McGillian, I'm sorry, Matt, I'm going to butcher your name once again. Anyways, he's the writer. Good dude. I've been doing some work with him, and oddly enough, that has parlayed into some connections that I never thought I would be having. So that's number one. Number two is I am, as you know, working with Robert Kiyosaki quite intimately, and I count Robert as one of my good friends now. I've been having a back and forth with him for about, almost over a year now. And good dude, going through a rough time, and I'm trying to help him through that. I'm going to be going and giving a talk in Phoenix, Arizona with, actually as part of his crew. I'll be doing that in Phoenix from April 1st to April 5th. My birthday, by the way, is April 2nd. So we'll be celebrating my birthday on Saturday while I'm down there. And yes, I will most definitely be live streaming or doing something probably on Insta. Follow me on Instagram. I'll definitely be doing that. And I'm going to be giving really this is not a manosphere talk. This is more of like, I don't want to call it a TED talk, but it's like a more nuts and bolts, down to earth, objective realism talk. It's not about like, hey, look, here's the ratchet hose on, fresh and fit, which I love doing. Don't get me wrong. But this is like a world apart. So I'm getting into sort of these spheres, I guess, the financial sphere, the real estate sphere, the fitness sphere. By the way, I was on Mark Bell's Powerhouse podcast about 2 weeks ago. Go check that out if you're familiar with Mark Bell, and I think his partner's name is Nassim. That was a really great talk. Again, I'm trying to expand into different spheres, and I have been doing so quite successfully as of really the last couple of weeks, or probably last month, really. And so I'm going to be working with Robert. I'm going to be giving it's going to be a private talk. It's not open to the public, but I will be there. I decided to stay a little bit longer just in case something, people wanted me to go on a podcast. I will probably be doing a show with Ken McElroy, who is in the financial sphere. I'll probably be doing something with him if Ken's available. I think we might do it on Sunday. I'll let you know if that goes down. I'm a one-man show, man. I do my own logistics. I do my own bookings. You talk to me. You don't talk to my people. You come to me and you talk to me. You don't talk to my girl. You don't talk to my I don't know, my programmer. I wish I had a Chris Pogson, quite honestly, but I don't have a producer. So you're going to talk to me, and I'm the one that has to do all this. So how come ROLLO is always vague? Well, because I'm still wondering what's gonna come in the next few days. So it's up to me, not up to anybody else. I am in charge of my own success. Austin Griffin. I currently work in politics, and it's all based on emotionalism. Of course it is, no matter what side you are on. Excellent observation, Austin. You get, let's see, what should we give you? You get a hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. Yes, I agree 100%. It's on both sides. When people give me grief about, like, when I talk about the sisterhood uber alles, do you guys know what I mean when I say the sisterhood uber alles? The sisterhood above all. Yes, I know who used to say that, and I'm not going to mention their names, but uber alles part anyways. The sisterhood uber alles. We're no longer, I don't think we need to really worry so much about Big Brother. Remember, like 1984 and George Orwell, Big Brother is watching you. No, Big Sister is watching you. Big Sister is watching you right now. Big Sister wants to see if you screw up. Big Sister doesn't want you to approach her on the street. Big Sister wants you to know that if you're a beta and you're a chump and you don't look good enough and you don't measure up enough, you will be a criminal. You will go to jail for talking to her. You will go to jail for making an approach. You will go to jail for speaking red pill wisdom. You will go to jail for asking the wrong questions. You will be criminalized. And if we can't criminalize it, we'll find some way to cancel you. We'll find some way to make you pay for your indiscretions. Big Sister is watching you. Cancel culture, Big Sister. Really is. And in fact, when we get to the Bill Maher section of today's show, when we get to that, you'll understand exactly why. Like, Bill Maher doesn't have anything to lose. Joe Rogan doesn't really have anything to lose either. He doesn't care if he gets cancer or not. $100 million. See ya. Bye. I'm out. Makes everything I say right. But he doesn't care about Big Sister. He's got FU money. And FU money is no longer $2 million like in the movie. It's a whole lot more than that now. But Bill Maher as well. And yes, I know Bill Maher used to be very much red pill. I don't say red pill. Bill Maher he used to do red pill bits. I guess you would call them red pill bits in his stand-up comedy. And yes, I know Patrice O'Neill, all hail. Okay, wait, here, I'll give it to you. Okay, yes, Patrice O'Neill. Oh, Tom Likas. Okay, thank you very much. Now we've recognized those people. Bill Maher used to be a stand-up comedian. Does he still do it? He did for a while, and he used to have some very like red pill takes back in the day. But remember, this was like back in like mid 2000s, I think is when he was. Do you know where Bill Maher got his start? Can anybody name? Well, you guys will just go look it up on IMDb, but don't look it up. But off the top of your head, do you know where Bill Maher first became a thing? I will tell you after I read this. Just checking in your Instagram, ROLLO, blasting, eating, and cheating. Yes. I like Steel Panther is kind of like one of my guilty pleasures. I'm sorry. Now, after I've admitted that, Razor Fist will never talk to me ever again. So where did Bill Maher? Okay, now children, where did Bill Maher get his? No, not politically incorrect. No. Earlier than that. Keep going. Come on. Oh, you guys are doing good. You guys are doing really good. Politically incorrect. No. Married with children. He was the game show host on it was kind of like the dating game or whatever it was, like back in the 80s or 70s or whatever. He was the show host of that show, and he was the guy that was on that. It blew me away. I saw reruns of it one time. I go, oh my God, that's Bill Maher. What'd you say? Hey, ROLLO, what are your thoughts on Department of Justice secretly spying and raiding journalists' homes, Project Veritas? That's out of my wheelhouse. But again, it's par for the course. Who's going to stop them? You? Me? Who's going to stop? FBI, open Who's going to stop these men? Who will stop these men? I don't know. But we need real men these days, right? We need grown ass men, according to Bill Maher. I got to finish my Matt Walsh rant here because I kind of want to come back to this later on. What, Anna? Gee, all right, wait, we're stopping the show for Anna. Hold on. What do grown ass men think about sexual exposure chart? Should they care about their number 2? No. You mean number as far as like promiscuity, like that, or their notch count? Because those are two different worlds. And I'll explain to you why that is if you like. But let me I'll see if I can dovetail that into what I'm about to talk about here. Let me put this back in again because I kind of wanted to I don't know, detail this just a touch. All right, here. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I just want to go to some of the salient parts.
There's the extreme approach that you are admittedly taking. And then there's also just ordinary.
Okay, notice what she said there. Now, this is the tactic you will get. And this is like women who are very much married to the woke narrative, okay? The woke narrative is a female narrative. We need to say that, Matt. You need to point this out. This is emotionalism versus empiricism. You are a very poor representative for empiricism. In fact, I would almost, knowing what I know now about the documentary of What is a Woman, I will say that this was all a PR stunt for you so that you could build more buzz for the upcoming debut of your documentary. And lo and behold, now it's coming out in the end of March. When did you do this? Oh, back in the early parts of February or January, latter half of January. Yeah, it seems to me that this was a push to sort of build that groundswell. That is what I'm talking about. And yes, it's on both sides. They don't want to have this conversation. Certainly not the emotional side of things. Sorry. Today is Raiders Day. Why did I get red? You're having an emotional versus empirical debate, Matt, Elijah, Schaefer, if you're watching, that's the same thing. Whenever you're going to talk, if you're going to have a problem with Lewis, I can't even get his name, William Thomas, or you're going to have a problem with Leah Thomas, you can cry a bloody river about men coming in and dominating that sport. And you'll be absolutely right. But you will solve nothing. You are entitled to nothing until you address the fact that you are having an emotional debate versus an empirical debate. That's the red pill aspect of all this. That's the gender aspect of this. And notice what she just did here. Well, you seem to be taking the extreme side. So what she's done right there, poison the well. That's a debate tactic. Call that shit out, man. Hit that hard. Hit that back, push that back in her face. That's what you need to do, especially when it's right there. It's one thing when you got some like cutesy little 23-year-old going, well, I think that we need equality and egalitarianism. That's one thing. But when that chick, that girl, that whatever that is, that's telling you that she's going to teach your kids that, you need to push that back in her face, because that is, in fact, ideology. You want to talk about the difference between ideology and philosophy and praxeology? That right there, that's a real good example, because none of the shit that she's talking about is true. None of it. It is based on faith and belief to the same degree that I'm sure Matt Walsh has in his traditional virtues and values and everything else, right? It's belief versus belief. And he's trying to be he doesn't realize he's doing this, but he's trying to be a representative of empirical objective reality. What is a woman? I'm asking you an objective question, young lady. Because and you'll notice how he couches this here in just a second. I'll let him explain this. I'll stop it when he says it. But what he's about to do is he's about to say, well, you know, for hundreds of thousands of years, men and women have traditionally, stop, no, not right there. No, convention. Stop using tradition, start using convention. Because the moment you say tradition, then it's like, oh, well, look at him over here. Like, notice, I wish I would have done this. When Roosh was on Dr. Oz back in 2014, 2015, he had the same expression on his face that Matt Walsh has right now. Like he's in the principal's office being scolded by the teacher or being scolded by the principal. He's sitting there kind of taking it. You are not a good representative, my friend. Certainly not the red pill. I know that's probably not what you're trying to represent, but you're not a good representative of even the case or the side that you're trying to make in all of this. Now, he makes some good points, don't get me wrong, but look who gets the lion's share of rationalizing all of this, who is explicating all of this.
People that might not be comfortable with the language change. And it just is awkward. And so they're afraid of not being courteous or being accepting. So
notice he also mentioned language change. No, it's not a language change. It's a belief change. It's an idea change is what it is. It's not language. Oh, we're just going to use these words now. No. Well, I want to say it was in 1984. Maybe it was just a straight up quote, but it would have been 1984. Yeah, George Orwell. If thought can corrupt language, then language can corrupt thought. That's where she's at. This is Big Sister. This is corruption of language. This is forcing you to use gender pronouns. This is forcing Dr. Jordan Peterson to say ze, zer, or they, them, whatever. You know, I'm a potato. I don't know. Potato. I'm a potato. William Thomas versus Leah Thomas, right? It's all just gender. You know, we just decide what we want to be because it's also social construct. And we want you to use our language. And the moment you start using that language is the moment you lose, because you're using the language of their religion. Stop using woke language. Refuse to use it. Go to jail if you have to for refusing to use woke language. Do it, because it's the only way you're going to make an example. It's the only way you're going to be able to stand up for this. You know, it's one thing for Peterson in 2017 to say, no, I'm not going to use your gender pronouns because I won't be compelled by the state to use your pronouns. Well, how about this? How about Big Sister is a greater authority in the digital 21st century, the digital age, and the social media era is a bigger authority than the state. Well, we're just going to cancel you. We're going to steal, as Roosh used to say, we're going to steal your bread. We're just going to take your bread away from you. You're not going to go to jail, but you won't be able to get a job. And if you can't get a job, well, then your wife's going to leave you and you won't be able to feed your dog. And your kids are going to call you a deadbeat dad. Do you really want that? When you would just simply have to call us Z and Zer? That's a way more powerful incentive than saying, if you don't do this or you say this and you deliberately misgender somebody, then you're going to jail, mister. Like that's a simple answer. That's easy. It's when you're online and you can't get a bank account, or you can't use social media, or your YouTube video gets demonetized because you're even having the conversation. You're even asking the question that makes them uncomfortable about their belief set. And that's what this is. It's a belief set.
There's like these two things. There's actually combating and not being, you don't like transgender, the idea of transgender.
Okay. Straw man. So now we've poisoned the well with, you're taking the extreme sense. We have now used straw manning here, where she's saying, well, you know, this is what you are, and let me knock you down.
That's different than pronouns. But then just for most people, it's just feeling a little bit awkward and unsure and not wanting to hurt or offend somebody.
Okay. Most people appealing to the masses. Everyone else agrees. It's not about the issue, but you're choosing the unpopular side and appealing to the audience. That's a logical fallacy, and it's escaping me right now. But the logical fallacy is that all this massive people, there's 100,000 million people here, believe this. So it must be right. It must be true. 2 + 2 is 5. You know how many people believe 2 + 2 = 5? You're wrong for thinking that 2 + 2 = 4, because clearly you're not in the consensus. I think maybe it's appeal to consensus. I forget what the logical fallacy is. Some smart son of a bitch is going to tell me what that is here.
Well, why is it important for educators to teach about gender identity, gender presentation, and pronouns? Why do you think that's important?
Because there is a difference. There is biological sex, and a lot of times people are conflating sex and gender. So there's biological sex, and then there's gender, and that's a social construct.
There it is. That right there is religion. That's the difference between ideology and red pill praxeology. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Bye. I'm out. That's it. That's it right there in a nutshell. And that is why Matt is falling down on the job. Right there, nail her ass to the wall. That is a belief, and it is a misplaced, foolish, empirically disproven belief. Easily disproven belief. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna disprove it for you right now. Where's my good friend Rob Henderson? Wait, no, this isn't Rob, but this is something else. Let me throw this on. Should I put it as a banner? No, hang on. Hold on. Wait, hold your horses, people. The red meat comes at the end of the show, by the way. Let's see. Oh, it's those screenshots. That screenshot and the E. And that one. Okay. Now, any evolutionary psychologist, such as Gad Saad, for instance, or Steve Stewart Williams, who are like my two heroes here, they'll tell you stuff like this. Okay. The 4 laws of behavioral genetics. First law, all traits are partially heritable. Identical twins reared apart are more similar than fraternal twins reared apart, who are more similar than non-relatives reared apart. Second law, the effect of the genes is larger than the effect of the shared environment. You dumb bitch. By adulthood, identical twins reared together are little or no more similar than identical twins reared apart. Ditto for adopted siblings. Law 3, third law of behavioral genetics. A lot of variance in behavioral traits isn't attributable to genes or shared environment. Identical twins reared together, shared genes plus shared environment aren't identical. Fourth law, most complex traits are shaped by many genes of small effect. There are no common genes that increase or decrease IQ by, say, 5 points, but there are hundreds, even thousands of genes that increase, decrease IQ by a tiny fraction of a point. That, my friends, is the 4 laws of behavioral genetics. You are wrong, ma'am. Wrong. There is a difference in identity and biology. The way our brains are wired, the way our personalities manifest themselves are, at least in part, genetic. And if that's the case, your petition for social constructionism is dead ass wrong. Wrong. And you're teaching wrong information to children, to college students. You are a priestess. You are fomenting a religion that is false religion. That's what you are doing. It comes down to empiricism versus belief. And she believes in social constructionism. And you know who else does? Every damn chick that's on Fresh and Fit. How so, Rollo? Well, because they go on that show and they rattle off stuff that chicks like this teach them in college, or they heard because it was popular in some song, because whoever wrote that song, Beyonce, heard it from this chick or someone like this chick. That's why. That's the conversation you are having, Matt. Not, oh, what's a woman? You don't care what a woman is. You know what you care about? You care about objective truth versus belief, religion, ideology. That's why I get so worked up when somebody says, hey, man, what's the red pill philosophy? Nothing. It's whatever you're going to use those tools for, and how are you going to benefit your life? It's up to that individual to take that, or maybe even the collective group to take that and use that data for their own benefit and leverage it for a better life. Hopefully you live a better life. I hope you live a long, happy, red pill aware life. The end. But you will not get to that if you are going to suffer fools like this, Matt Walsh. Oops.
To teach about why do you?
So there's biological sex and then there's gender, and that's a social construct in the sense that just because you're born biologically a female doesn't mean you automatically want to vacuum, for instance, which is usually a feminine activity, or conflated that way.
That's where she goes with that? No. How about this? How about you have trait agreeableness? How about in the big 5 personality traits, women lean one way and men lean another? How about this? Men and women's brains are wired for different things. We have different innate proclivities that lean towards certain things. Women are more interested in people. Men are more interested in things. Women are more are more opportunistic when they approach love. Men are more idealistic. Why? Why, by and large, on the bell curve, are there extremes on either end? Yes, there are. Thank you very much. But NAWALT, right? Just because there's somebody on either end of that bell curve does not mean that the bell doesn't exist. But here we're going to hear that. And this is going to be the gospel fucking truth. Because here's the priestess, here's the high priestess of the ideology spitting social constructionism.
And so it's this idea of giving children in age-appropriate ways an understanding that these things aren't set in stone. Gender identity is not tied to biology.
In age-specific ways, you mean like teaching kids about like prawn? Which is where we're at right now. And of course, I've seen Matt talk about that as well. And Matt, as upsetting, as like viscerally revolting as that is, you're not going to solve that problem until you address what's really going on here.
You say that gender's not set in stone. What do you mean?
I mean that's just factually incorrect. Saying that.
Wrong. It is factually correct. I just showed you the data. And that's just the 4 laws of genetic behavior, or behavior. What is behavioralism? What is it? I want to quote that right. The 4 laws of behavioral genetics, right? You go and she clearly has no earthly clue about anything, any of the work, even the Evo Psych researchers who would agree with her. She probably has no clue who they are because it's all about values. It's all about belief. It's all about magical thinking. It's all about the blank slate. It's all about social constructionism. That you take away the blank slate and social constructionism from these people's ideologies, and it crashes to the ground. And they'll be lost. As I said, when I first covered this about 4 or 5 weeks ago, when I first covered this, I was focusing on the bearded lady that shows up here. I don't know his name. I don't know what his name is. But when I was focusing on that, I wasn't focusing on the argument that she was making. I was focused on what he was saying, because he was butchering his own, he just doesn't really know what he believes in. And he just goes with whatever someone like this is going to tell him. And that is the dangerous part. The bearded lady here, that's the child she taught. That's the result. That's the consequence. Why is this important to you, Rollo? I'll tell you why. Because when we get to when we get to Bill Maher's video, it will be crucially, essentially important to this conversation. Because everything that Bill Maher rattles off about, we need grown-ass men. The title of today's show, right? Modern women need grown-ass men. Well, how do we get where we are? There, this broad right here. That's how we got there. Social constructionism and blank slate equalism. That's how we got there. Oh, well, traditional. No tradition. Shut up. Shut up, Mr. Conservative. Conventional masculinity. Where do we get that? We get that from the 4 laws of behavioral genetics. That's where we get that. And the more we dig into how the link between our evolutionary wiring, the machine, once we have a better understanding of the machine, and we have a better understanding of the human machine than we have ever had in human history, and we're still suffering idiots like this. We're still on Dr. Phil going, I don't know, what do you think about identity? Oh, thanks. Here's a commercial break. Please support our sponsors. We're getting nowhere. And I don't know about you guys. I am not of the mind that I want to just watch it burn. Sorry, maybe I'm a little more optimistic than that. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm naive. Enjoy the decline. The problem with enjoy the decline is you eventually get to the bottom of the decline. Fuck that. I don't want the decline, man. I don't want to watch the world burn. I'm not freaking Nero. I'm not going to fiddle and play guitar. I'm not going to play that guitar while the world burns. I'm going to point this shit out. Because if the world burns and people are looking, well, didn't they know back then? You're goddamn right. You're goddamn right. We knew what was going on back then.
You're goddamn right.
Yes. We need to point this stuff out because you are not going to have this conversation unless you know where you stand, unless you actually understand the language that's being used in all of this. And clearly Matt doesn't. Now, Matt's going to make a few points here. I will give him some, I'll let him speak.
So you have biology is the chromosomal makeup and reproductive organs and all of that. And so that would be sort of the nature side of things. But the nurture side of things is where we see more of gender identity.
No, we don't. The nature versus nurture debate is over. It has been over. You just don't realize it yet. The nature versus nurture debate is over. Dead in the water. Dead in the water thanks to the 4 laws of behavioral genetics. And you know what? It's going to keep getting deader and deader and deader. But we're going to still listen to, there's a separation between your body and your identity. It's all socially. You just get it foisted on you by this, I don't know, this magical evil patriarchy that hasn't existed for 60 freaking years. Get the fuck out of here. See, and that's the problem. And I mentioned this in my 4th book in religion, in the introduction of it, where I said, we are at a point right now, especially with the internet and the rise of social media, and we have access to information in a way that we've never had before. If you read my first book, in the introduction of it, or like the very first chapter of it, I mentioned how the printing press, right? The movable type printing press, or about 1450, I think is when it came out. Gutenberg printing press. Made available and increased literacy across Western Europe. Of the inventions in humankind, movable type and the printing press is one of the, let's say, keystones or the linchpins of human understanding. Now, what was the first thing we did? Well, they printed the Bible, because why not? The Bible is the holy book and we all want to be able to read it. And so what happens is you increase literacy and people read the Bible and they realize, hey, wait a minute, the Catholic Church has been full of crap for a long time. They've been selling indulgences and all this other stuff, and there's nothing about that here in this Bible, blah, blah, blah. Then you have the Protestant Reformation and the wars, and, Irish kill people and the Catholics kill people and the Spaniards kill people and everything. And it's caused a lot of unrest because of one invention that distributed more information across Western Europe. Now, are there other ones that are like disrupting? Yeah, there are. There's other disruptive inventions across history. You have the atom bomb, right? Obviously. And I would argue hormonal birth control was one of those disruptors, those primary disruptors. Now we have the internet, and the internet is our Gutenberg press of the 21st century. And we have social media, and we have access to information. So a schmuck like me can go and dig up, research, and who has a keen interest in I'm not an evolutionist. Believe it or not, I am not an evolutionary psychologist. I do not have a degree in evolutionary psychology. I have a degree in behavioral psychology. I don't have one in Evo Psych. And it's only a bachelor's degree. But I have a keen interest in this, especially behaviorism, right? And that's what got me into this. But you don't have to play one on the internet. You have Google. It's not hard to find this information. It's not hard to find data. It's not hard to find what's ovulatory shift? What's hypergamy? Name it. What's the reason why you even know about hormonal birth control for men is because I wonder what this is all about, right? You have a curiosity and you can find that out. Well, if you have enough focus in one area with that curiosity, you can piss a lot of people off. It's fun. Afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. If I have a charter, that's it. Now, because we live in the 21st century, we have access to all this data. We have access to social media, so we can interrelate about this because so we can talk to all the geniuses online about it. Or we can go and have Dr. Phil call you up for an interview so that you can go smash skulls with Tommy Lahren. No thanks. Or you can have Matt Walsh on there and you can have these discussions. The problem is that the discussions that they're having right there, I don't know what got edited out and what didn't. Hey, maybe Matt was kicking ass and we just don't see that. That's a possibility. However, the disruption right now is the information. It's the data. We live in the data age, right? It's the information. And this woman is completely oblivious and has no curiosity about anything that might disrupt social constructionism or the blank slate, or gender is one thing and biology is another. No, do you think that this chick, this whatever she is, I hope I'm not misgendering her, do you think that she has had any curiosity to go, you know what? I don't know why I believe that. I've never questioned my epistemology. I don't know why I believe what I believe, right? I've never questioned that. I wonder if this is right or this is not right. I wonder if this is bullshit. Why is this Rollo Tomassi telling me this one thing, and yet my women's studies teacher tells me another thing? I'm currently, and I don't know if she's in the chat right now, I'm currently helping Femme Sapien Allie with, it's not your doctoral thesis, it's your master's thesis, or anyways, it's a paper or a discussion or a debate where she has to defend. If you have a master's thesis or a doctoral thesis, you have to defend the points that you make in that thesis. Lord knows I've had to do it. So, but I'm helping her right now because she has to defend the red pill basically against at least her teacher. And I don't know, there's probably a panel of other people as well. And here's the thing. I'm going to name my next show. Here's the thing. But here's the thing. None of those people on the panel that's going to judge whether or not she passes or she fails that class. She gets I don't know, whatever your degree is, master's, doctorate, bachelor's, I don't know, whatever it is. The panel of people who are going to attack you for your thesis paper that you have to defend. That's what you always had to do in college. They don't have the intellectual curiosity to say, is this really right? Where is all this data coming from? Where is this guy? And that's why I have to meticulously cite sources. And yes, I do cite sources, dumbass. Go look at especially the fourth book, man. I spent 3 fucking years citing sources in that book. How dare you accuse me of not doing my homework? There is an entire glossary in the back of that book. That is my most well-cited book. And you know why? Because I knew assholes just like John Mulville or whatever the hell he's going by, whatever alias he's using to keep Interpol away from him in Brazil, whoever this Boaz dude is, coming at me. It's like, I don't even, people say, well, how come you haven't been responding to any of this? Because it's not worth my time. Clearly they're idiots. Clearly they are lethargic intellectually. And if you can't see that, then, you got to go do the homework yourself. The data is there. Everything I've talked about. I just gave you the 4 laws of genetic behaviorism. Behavioral genetics. 4 laws of behavioral genetics. Completely destroyed this chick's argument. Isn't that a good thing, though? You're happy when I do it here, but you're not happy when I'm writing about religion in my 4th book. Okay.
She began by saying that my view is extreme. Okay, so the view that every single person on earth has held up until 15 seconds ago is extreme, and the view that almost everyone does right now still hold as extreme, apparently.
Okay, Matt, good start. Very good start. You know where you could have gone with this, though? You could also have brought in every animal in the animal kingdom. You could have put in, too. You could have dropped that in there as well, because pretty much every animal on planet Earth has any sexually dimorphic species behaves according to whatever those species were born as far as sex is concerned. Ned, minus his balls even, still acts like a male dog. Okay. Bambi, she's been spayed. By the way, Bambi has had 4 pups, by the way. Or no, 6 pups. She's not having any more, but she still acts like a female greyhound does. Is this because Greyhound Society taught her to act like a girl and not Ned? Ned just picked up the male traits from, I don't know, some nebulous patriarchy for greyhounds? Like Scooby-Doo, right-o-row. Is that what it is? Because the reason I brought this up is because if you read, and I don't expect you would ever have the curiosity to do so, but if, Matt, you are to read a good book, can I give you a suggestion? It's called The Ape That Understood the Universe, and it's by Steve Stuart Williams. It is very ideologically, it's completely neutral, which is perfect for a book that's based on his, he's a evolutionary psychologist. He's got a doctorate, right? Or Godsod for that matter, too. Dr. Godsod. if you go and you read those books, they're very much ideologically neutral, unless God's he's coming after like ideologists. But Ape That Understood the Universe actually said that, what I was just mentioning, like the ideology of social constructionism. There's actually three kind of fallacies of ideology right now. I'll explain those in just a second. But one of those is social constructionism, right? It's all about, what is it? Myth of the noble savage, myth of the ghost in the machine, and the myth of the blank slate. Those are the three primary ones. And from those sort of like magical thinking mythologies springs all kinds of other things. And as we can see from this video, so the myth of the noble savage, or the myth is really kind of like synonymous with the naturalistic fallacy, which is if it's from nature, it's got to be good. So let's all take ayahuasca because it grows naturally in the forest. And so let's all get baked every chance we get. Marijuana is great for you. Go for it. You know, why not? Mushrooms, psilocybin. Oh, the medical properties of psilocybin are great. Turn your brain into silly putty. It's natural. Go right ahead. You know, or essentially what it is, it's an appeal to naturalism. And the same thing kind of applies to sort of the myth of the noble savage as well. Well, we have a duty noblesse oblige. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, I'm not a professional. Anyways, it's the idea that getting back to shamanism, getting back to, I don't know, being a witch doctor is more genuine and authentic than like organized religion. No, it's just a different branch of the same magical thinking. There's a module in your head, by the way, in your brain that predisposes human beings to magical thinking. And that can be a very good thing, and it can be a very bad thing. Just depends on how you use it. So I'm not saying it's bad or it's good. I'm just saying it's there. Okay, let me catch up. Rollo, I believe that women would have had equal rights without feminism due to technological advancements. Evil patriarchy is a myth. Do you concur? I concur that evil patriarchy is the boogeyman, and always has been and will be. It has been the boogeyman for feminism since 1848, since 49. Seneca Falls, New York. Go look it up. The feminist convention of Seneca Falls. Was it the Seneca Falls Convention? 1849. Something like that. If you go watch if you've ever played, like, was it Red Dead Redemption? The feminists that's in that, that you can like gun down with your shotgun or whatever. It's historically accurate. But patriarchy has been there was actually the term patriarchy was, I think, really reserved for scientific communities and like Old Testament, like Abrahamic religions, like the patriarch, right? Or Latin, was it Latin families? Like the Godfather, he's the patriarch of the family, right? But we didn't even use the word patriarchy in its most modern like context, I think, until right around Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem and like militant feminism of like the late 60s and early 70s. And so what the patriarchy became is the boogeyman. And I don't know who came up with this quote, so I'm going to paraphrase it. This is not me, okay? But if there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid. Somebody said that one time when we were talking about like Osama bin Laden or something like that. If there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid. If there is no Osama bin Laden, nobody gets paid. If there is no war on drugs, nobody gets paid. If there is no beer bug, the clap, nobody gets paid. And so and now we're going to move into, I don't know, whatever the next narrative is in, war in the Ukraine. I can't wait till we can't say that, right? Anything you can't say is the boogeyman. And if there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid. The patriarchy has been the boogeyman for a long time. It's just there as, well, there's men at the very top of those men at the top of the pyramid up there, that's the patriarchy. Patriarchy died in 1966. Really. How dare you say that? Well, it's true. Remember when you said truth versus hustle, Matt equals hustle. Yeah, he does. Now, here's the thing, Akeem. Yeah, you're right. I wrote about that. I happen to, maybe, sometimes your subconscious sort of speaks to you, but I wrote that article, by the way, which was, I think it was called False Positives on the Rational Male. That essay came out in May of 2019. And if you know what happened in June of 2019, well, you can just see how prophetic that was. I think you're right, but I'm not aware. I don't think that Matt is aware that that's what he's doing. Or maybe he is. Maybe he's just a real savvy player. I don't know. Samuel Cox, a bit off topic. What is your opinion on Hartiste and his approach to game? Good question, because I'll tell you what, Sam, buy book 5. Oh, there's Rollo selling books. Yes, I am, because I said exactly. I talk about Hartiste. Hartiste, by the way, is Royce. I talk more about Royce than Hartiste, because when that blog changed hands back in 2009, there's some speculation that one of the writers was still Royce, but like it changed hands to being Hartiste at that time. And his approach to game, Royce he wasn't like a PUA. He wasn't like a mystery or a Neil Strauss or a RSD or anything like that. He was more of like, that's why he and I got along so well, because Royce was a game analyst and Rollo Tomassi was a game analyst too. I still am a game analyst right now. So my book, by the way, is coming out at the beginning of next week or the end of next week. Start those hit piece videos. Really do it now. If you want to be on time, I'm doing you a favor. I'm the R&D. I mentioned this on Rule Zero yesterday. Me and Ryan Stone are the research and development department for the Red Pill. If you don't believe me, if you think Kevin Samuels, or if you think Myron, and I like Myron quite a bit, you know that. But if you think anybody who's like sort of who is a good representative of the Red Pill has come up with something, I'm not saying I originated it. So let's just clear the air here. I'm not saying I'm the originator of this, and this, but I am the originator of a lot of things. And so where did they get that stuff from? They got it from me, or they got it from Royce, or they got it from Roosh, or they got it from some combination of us. And where did we get that? Probably from the early PUAs, probably from Mystery, maybe Patrice O'Neill, maybe Tom Likas, right?
Dump that bitch.
Oh, why would Rollo have Tom as a sound drop if he didn't know who Tom Likas was? Thank you. Let's see. Sorry, I'm going to catch up here before I let Matt go. Rollo, you were talking about the concept of spiral of silence. I was. How so? How does that follow? I don't follow that. Please explain. Elaborate, please. Kowalski analysis. I need that one. Somebody give me that sound drop. The Kowalski analysis sound drop would be cool. Damn, son, you guys are all up in it today. I'm going to try to get to everybody here. Hang on, because you guys are being cool. We need is code for I want. Yes. By the way, language, as she was saying, she wasn't wrong about that. It is very important. And when you start speaking the language of the woke, they think that that's reinforcement. And in fact, they're right, because you're reinforcing that language. If you start agreeing with that and start using terminology that is unique to woke, progressive, feminist, gynocentric, ideological movements, whatever we're calling it, if you agree to that, if you even start using the language, even in passing, because you want to be polite, you don't want to offend, even by doing that, that's a tacit acceptance or acknowledgement of their ideology. Stop using their language. People ask me all the time, Rollo, what can I do to push back on all of this? What can I do to help out, right? People want to help, right? They don't want to spend money on an NFT. They don't want to do a Kickstarter. They don't want to even give you, well, thank you for the Patreons, and thank you for the super chats. But they're like, how, give me something that I can do. Well, here's a very simple thing that won't cost you a dime. Become aware of that language when it's being used and deliberately reject it. Openly, overtly reject their language by using your own language, using our language, not their language. Because the minute you start using that language, and like I said, even to Jordan Peterson's credit, the minute you start using that, or you're compelled to use that, whether that's by the state or society in general, what you are doing is you are reinforcing their ideology. It says, I agree with you to this point anyways. And most people don't realize they're doing that because they want to fit in. They want to fit in with the crowd. I get it. I mean, we're social animals. We don't want to seem out of place. We don't, dress up when we should dress down. We care about what other people think. Sorry, not sorry. That's the way we are engineered. When you get like success hustlers saying, you shouldn't care what other people think about you. The reason why that resonates with you is because everybody cares what people think about them. That's what we're social animals. We're wired that way. I can show you study after study after study where people will go along with the crowd. It's like, what is the madness of crowds? It's actually the intelligence of crowds. It's because people don't want to be out. And it's not because they're like, whoa, I'm weak. I'm a lamb. I'm a sheep. No, it's not because of that. It's because that's the way the machine is built. Shit, I'd probably do it too. You should see me at a concert, man. I'd jump right in the pit because everybody else is. It looks like fun. Let's go. Yeah. Yep. Mullet babe. Thanks. I'm a babe because I have a mullet. Actually, it's not a mullet, dude. A mullet is partying, or is a business in the front, party in the back. My hair is party all the time. Damn, Rollo, leave Cappy out of this, please. I'm trying to. Cappy's I got it. Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you all to do. You guys want some homework? Here's your homework. Go brigade Captain Capitalism. Go brigade Aaron Clary and tell him he needs to get his ass to the CME in May. He'll do it because he cares about what other people think. Let's see. Can a point be made that conservative and liberalism are just twin beliefs that unify opposing camps to ideological emotional crack? That is a mouthful, my friend. In fact, you deserve one of these for that. Thank you for that mouthful. Let's see. Oh, there's Sammy. Sammy, thank you for following up. I've got you in my DMs right here, Sam. Can a point be made that conservative and liberalism are just twin beliefs that unify opposing camps to ideological emotional crack? Yes. Because liberal, conservative, those are old order terminologies. Those are stop thinking. You want to start using different language? Stop using liberal. Stop using conservative. This is 2022. We're almost halfway through 2022. We're getting closing in fast, right? We're certainly 21 years into the 21st century. Old order thinking is conservative and liberal. Old order thinking is Republican versus Democrat. That's 20th century thinking. Start thinking in terms of the 21st century, because I guarantee you, your kids won't be using those terms. And if they are, they're doing it because you taught them to. We have to stop thinking in terms of 20th century. We have to start thinking in terms of 21st century. Oh, left, right. No, that's certainly empiricism versus emotionalism, because that's what those arguments always boil down to. And yes, you are correct, though. I will agree with this. You are correct in the sense that Matt Walsh is more than likely locked into his virtue signaling value system. And again, more power to you, whatever it is. I don't care if you're liberal or you're conservative, if your convictions are your convictions, that's just where your belief sets are at. That has nothing to do with empirical objective realism. Now, are you going to base your belief set on that? I should certainly hope so, but I wish I was a little bit more optimistic about that, because people generally don't change their beliefs according to meta studies over the course of 20 years, independently funded from Texas A&M, and peer reviewed 9 times over. And this sounds like reasonable. I think I'm going to change my lifelong beliefs because of this study, of this research. Probably not. Most people come to their value sets and their belief sets from their lived experience. And yes, I'm going to use that language. Captain Crunch, having Captain Crunch for lunch. The need for the Gutenberg press was because of the Black Plague killed off all the scribes and the need to make copies of the Bible. Well, I'm sure that probably had something to do with it, but Gutenberg was it Aldous? Was this one smart motherfucker. Eve was a real jerk. By the way, should I say it? Should I give it to you? You want me to give you, you want me to tell you the Adam and Eve story? I'll tell you the Adam and Eve story. Did you know that Adam's first sin was not eating the apple? And this is scriptural. I didn't write it. God wrote it, or whoever wrote the Genesis, right? God wrote it. Well, Adam's first sin was not biting into the apple, eating the apple. His first sin, listening to the woman. Go look it up. It's there. You listen to the woman. Was it woman? And because you listen to your wife, or because you listen to your woman, it might be wife. Did they get married? Is Adam and Eve married? Was there any like ceremony? Because you listened to the woman and ate of the fruit of the tree that I forbade. Right? So those are two separate articles right there. Because you listened to her and you ate the fruit. That is the first sin of mankind. Simping. Well, it looks like she's okay. Okay. It seems like I'm going to get laid. Okay. Yeah. Adam was a chump. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Rollo, does Jacinda Ardern carry a horse gene? Probably. Does Jacinda Ardern? I presume you're bringing up Jacinda Ardern because some dumb bitch on Fresh and Fit brought up the fact that, that girl, and she didn't even know her name, right? The president, that woman in New Zealand, she's doing a great job. And like Fresh was like, what? What? That was pretty funny. I did actually laugh my ass off. Every once in a while, something happens on that show and I have to text Fresh. I'm sorry, Fresh. I probably bugged the hell out of you, but every once in a while, I'm just like, oh, get her. Triple G, any chance of a meetup while you are in Phoenix? Are you the dude that got in touch with me? Possibly, because I'm staying one extra day. I'm trying to figure out if I can hang out with Razor Fist while I'm there, but he doesn't return my calls because he's important. He's more important than Bill Maher and more important than Matt Walsh. He's harder to get a hold of than those dudes. Would be awesome if some of us can meet you in person. Okay, possibly. You sent me an email. Okay, I'll follow up with that, Triple G. I promise. Promise. It's my birthday. A man who transitions into a woman is able to pass himself off as one, enjoys all of the benefits of being a woman, right down to the affirmative action with none of the drawbacks of being a woman. Yeah. Hold that thought. Bookmark that for me, Sammy. I'm going to come back to that because that's going to be good for the Bill Maher section here. Murder is also in nature. Yes, it is. Ergo, according to people who use that line of BS, murder is good to go. Yeah, it is. It is good to go. Is it immoral? Is it wrong? Is it like you can make a judgment call after that? But biologically speaking, a man with a capacity for violence, I've said this 1,000 times, man with a capacity for violence is attractive because in our ancestral past, the highest form of DHV, demonstrating higher value, was killing the other guy, was killing a rival. You want to know why we had intertribal warfare and why warfare and warriors were held in such high regard? It was because they had the capacity to go and kill another human being, kill another guy. So there's a difference between what is and what's good, right? So somebody came at me. I don't know why I'm getting into this, but somebody came at me in the comments not too long ago and they said, Rollo's a liar. Ethics are this or that. I'm like, no, you don't understand the difference between morals and ethics. Okay. Morals is right and wrong, God and the devil, whatever I believe this, right? And again, whatever that is, I'm not here to shit on your religion or your morality. Go and use this accordingly. But that's not ethics. Ethics is what is fair and what is just, or what our sense, like it's this instinctual understanding of like what is justice, right? Tooth for tooth, an eye for an eye. That's ethics, really. But you put it in a moral sense because it's in a religious book, right? So how is Rollo coming up with this stuff? Okay, here's how I come up with this. Animals have a sense of fairness. A monkey sees another monkey in a cage. They've done experiments like this. There's research for this, where they have two monkeys in a cage, and they give one monkey a grape, and they give the other monkey a rock. And they do this often enough so that the monkey gets a rock. He's like, what the fuck is this, right? And the monkey with the grape's like eating and going, oh, this is some fucked up shit, right? And it's just a monkey. He didn't learn this from the evil patriarchy. He didn't learn this from a religious book. So the monkey with the grape started giving through the cage would give the other monkey a grape, because it was pretty some fucked up shit, right? Other animals would do the same thing. Shit, I can see it with my dogs. If I only give treats to Bambi and I don't give them to Ned, Ned's like, it turns into Scooby-Doo. There's an innate sense of like because higher life forms can have pattern recognition. We can figure that stuff out. That's what I'm talking about. That's an instinctual understanding of fairness. That is ethics. That I can make a case for empirically and objectively speaking. Morality, that's on you, man. That's taking that to the nth degree. That's taking it to your value calls. That's taking your judgment calls. Which, by the way, judgment, is it ethics or is it morality? You're being judgy. Well, when a woman says, don't judge me, is that an appeal to ethics or is that an appeal to morality? You tell me, man. I just work here. But yes, murder is in our nature. Violence is certainly in men's nature. Absolutely. Is it good? Is it bad? All a matter of context, my friend. Who's doing it and who's the victim? It's only a tragedy if it happens to you. To stop trans ideology, you remove the incentives for men to transition. And what do you think those incentives would be? If women were under cultural pressure to get married and have kids, then a man who wished to be a woman would have to share that burden in some way. Transgenderism, I'll tell you what, I'll meet you halfway, one man's chorus. I will say this is that transgenderism is something that this society can afford right now. Rob Henderson will call that a luxury belief. And we have the luxury of believing that we're born in the wrong body. You know where that comes from? That comes from that dumb bitch right there with the tattoo on her neck. That's where that comes from. A child who's 3 or 4 years old knows if he was born the wrong gender. If that's the case, how is that possible if gender is a social construct? We need to get more women into positions of power. We need to get women into, oh no, what was it? Oh my God. Elizabeth, I should have copied and pasted this. I'm sorry. I apologize profusely for this one, but somebody sent me this and I opined on this and to my own chagrin, right? But Elizabeth Warren is making, and maybe it's not her, but her PR girl is making this push on Twitter to petition President Biden to reconsider student debt forgiveness for women. If you got a dick, that doesn't you don't count. You don't have any say at the table. But if you got a cooter, then we're going to forgive your debt. And she explicitly says that in the tweet. It's we need to forgive student debt because women hold 2/3 of actually they hold more, but women hold 2/3 of student debt, and they need a fair shot at owning a business, at starting a savings, at having, being able to choose the things they want to in life. But no mention of guys, no mention of men, and no mention of, you got a penis. So the cards are already in your favor. Now, that right there is emotion versus reason. Track with me here. That's emotion versus reason. Oh, women should be forgiven of their student debt. Well, women incur the most student debt. We know that. If you go and you look at Uber Facts, right? I think the United States debt is at 1.7 trillion for outstanding student debt in the United States. That is held, 2/3 of that is held by women because 60% to 60 to 65. So I forget what the stats are now, but at least 60% of college enrollment is what? Children, women, and 40% is men. Now, of the 40% who are men who are enrolling in college, how many of them are taking out student loans? How many student loans, how many Pell Grants, how many get women into STEMs, scholarship funds, how much free money, essentially, is available to women in college right now. So should men be held accountable for actually more student debt than women are simply because they have a penis? If you say yes, your social constructionist argument flies right out that window right there. Oh, it's social constructionism. Gender is just a thing and biology is another thing. Okay, then why does it matter to Elizabeth Warren that women have their college debt forgiven? Why? Tell me why. Give me an objective answer and I will be happy to get right behind whatever forgiveness you want to. But they will never get behind that. Never happen. And they know damn well that it won't happen. I love how Biden, now again, I've got this is not a political stream whatsoever, but the dude rode into the White House, at least in part, by promising debt forgiveness for student loans. And who does that affect the most? Women. Technological chaos. How important would you factor the need for peoples to create institutions, church, education, minority? Man, you guys got some good questions today. I'm never going to get to Bill Maher. Church, education, minority interest groups, etc., in radically scaling them, contribute to rule by emotion via outsourcing human capital decision making. Damn, you guys are some smart. Check out the big brain on you. How important would you factor the need of peoples to create institutions, church, education, minority interest groups, blah, 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 and radically scaling them? How does that contribute? I'm trying to figure out what your question is here. To rule by emotion via outsourcing human capital and decision making. All right, well, let's start with your organization part. Church, education, minority interests, whatever it is, that's human tribalism, my friend. And isn't violence part of the human machine? Yes, it is. And you know what else is? Tribalism. Tribalism is a feature, not a bug in human nature. And that's for women and for men, by the way. That's just the way we are. We're violent motherfuckers. And we go along with the crowd. And we want to form tribes. Your first tribe, by the way, your family. And your extended tribe is your belief set and your convictions, maybe whatever your cultural influences are, your nation, your education, for sure, status, belonging to a status strata, minority interests, sure. Any kind of groups, education, church, yeah, of course. That's all tribalism. So let's just clear the air. You don't even need to bring those groups up. Just say tribal. Your tribal affiliation. How's that? And radically scaling them to contribute to rule by emotion. Okay, well, it used to be that we could rule by rational, reasonable decision making. I thank God for that when we were in World War I and World War II, right? There were adults in the room. There are no adults in the room anymore. We have the luxury to be able to outsource our human capital. We have the luxury. Now, we won't for very much longer, but we have the luxury to do that. It's a luxury belief. Check out Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind by Stephen Greer. Okay, we'll do. It's a watch. Is that on Netflix? Simon Leviev. Simon watches me, man. I feel special today. Bill, we are in the age of female empowerment. Just say fempowerment. It's much easier. It's another Rolloism. Okay, I can't wait till somebody else steals that one. With this comes the sociopathic brain trust and the low self-esteem simps that follow. Self-respecting men must consolidate resources for the coming age. Okay, beyond the doomsday preparation that you're implying in that last sentence, I do halfway agree with you, Bill Stryker. Sam, bookmark that one. I'm going to come back to that. That's too in-depth. I want to answer that, but it's too in-depth for me to really get into. Thanks, Nick J, for the $50. And there you get that. And what else should we give you? Because that was a good one here.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Thank you very much for that, because today is going to be a rough one. I promise you I'm going to get to Bill Maher here in just a second. I got my early PUA from David D'Angelo. I'm sorry. And at this point, I date girls overseas. Africa is a gold mine for hot, smart, cooperative women. I avoid women of that Western boss chick garbage as much as possible. Good for you. You know what? At least you know enough about yourself to say that's my target demographic. Excellent. Thank you for JP. Thank you for showing us what you've learned and what you're building with the tools. Excellent. Excellent. Go to the front of the class. Juan, Adam, happy wife, happy life. Oh man, I got to remember that one. Whenever I do that story, whenever I drag that out there, people just hate my guts for bringing it. But it's true. I didn't write it. I just work here, man. Have you read Sex and Cultures by J.D. Unwin? No, but I will now. Unwin. How am I going to forget that name? J.D. Unwin. Okay. Make a note of that too, Sammy. Thank you. Rollo, you are correct. The Bible is the original rational male book. And don't tell Boaz the Just. Oh my Lord, I might get another hit attack piece book. And God said, because you have simped by listening to a woman, cursed is the whole earth. How do I order your book with Amazon? Thanks. You will. I'll tell you what, Jay, I will tell you at the end of this podcast. Kowalski analysis. Yes. One man's army chorus. If Amish and Hasidic men transitioned into a woman and outwardly passed himself off as one, the first thing his people would do is ask him why he wasn't married with kids. That would be a disincentive to transition. I'll tell you a better way to disincentivize guys transitioning into whatever else. Or whatever it is. Now, let me ask you this. Here, I don't want to belittle your question here, man chorus, because in it is the nugget of truth, and the nugget of truth is this: is that you're trying to fold this empirical thing into like belief sets, like Amish or Hasidic, Jewish, like Orthodox Jewish. And, well, if they had to do that, then they would have to go find a wife or whatever. Like that would be some sort of disincentive. Trust me, the people who are like transitioning, they don't give two shits about being Amish or being Hasidic or whatever. They could care less about that. In fact, their religion is spiritual, but not religious, right? In this house, we believe, Black Lives Matter, trust the science, love is love. Let's run down the rainbow, list of, articles of faith, right? They don't care about that shit, man. That's not going to disincentivize them. What will disincentivize them is if you say, hey, look, guys, it is less beneficial for you to turn yourself into a woman than it is to stay a man. If you can do that through legislation, if you can do that through society, which is going to probably be more effective, if you can do that through social conventions, that's how you will do that. If your goal is to like keep the bearded lady off the stage, turn it back in. Do you guys remember MASH? Do you remember Jamie Farr and Corporal Klinger when he was dressing up as a woman because he wanted to prove he was insane so he could get out of the army? Remember, this is in the 50s. This isn't like the Korean conflict, right? That's when it's supposed to take place. And he was one of the funniest characters on MASH. And the only reason I know about MASH is my dad watched it religiously when I was a kid. Whatever. It was funny, but Alan Alda. But Corporal Klinger would dress up. He would dress up in drag, and that was his character. And I think probably I don't know how many seasons it ran for, but at least half of the run of that show, he was in drag because he was insane, or he wanted he wanted the colonel to believe that he was insane, and please send me home because I ain't fighting. I don't want to do this shit, And he was I believe he was the communications officer. There was him, and I forget who the other guy was. But, what's interesting is like old shows like that had very definable like archetypes in the characters. And so the insanity part of him, how am I going to get how am I going to get drummed out of the army? I'm going to just dress like a woman. All that. Where did he get the clothes? In Korea? Does mom send him to? Because he seemed like a good Jewish boy, right? I mean, Corporal Klinger. So he was insane. Was that a disincentive to like try to keep people that was an incentive to keep him in the army. Now this is, fantasy and comedy and everything else, but make transgenderism insane again, and you will deter the bearded lady from ever getting on the stage. Guaranteed. Is there a correlation between the 80-20 principle and the survivor statistics of the Titanic? Yes, actually there is. Hold that one. Sam, hang on to that one. That's a good one too. Dave Laro about the Titanic. I like that one. We'll come back to that. Rollo, I still have a Winkle? Dude. But seriously, Godspeed, Taylor Hawkins. Yes. God, I know. I talked about this, by the way, on my live stream yesterday when I was at the gig. Yes. Is Master Jimmy Page a sloppy guitarist? Not at his time, he wasn't. I think he probably would be considered sloppy now. Rollo, I still have a Winkle. Okay, thanks a lot, man. Much love to you and your Winkle. I meant without Amazon. Oh, without Amazon. I'll tell you what, Jay, if you join my mailing list or you join my Patreon for even just the $5 tier, I will get you a PDF advanced copy because that's what I'm going to be offering soon. So either get on the Rational Mail, MAIL, and you can do that on my website, or else just join the $5 tier on Patreon and I'll get it to you. Older men chasing younger women contributes to human longevity and the survival of the species. Science Daily. Well, it's good to see that they're useful for something. Remember how I said the mainstream is finally waking up to the red pill? Facts. Book examines the correlation between society. Oh, this is the one you suggested. Okay, cultural achievement. Okay, I'll definitely Wizard X. I will definitely have a look at that. I had Sammy's going to hang on to that for me. And Hetlo, thoughts on how we become weaker as a species when every kid raised in a single parent matures with deep emotional and behavioral problems and goes on to create a dysfunctional family of their own? Good question, because we're just about to get into it with Mr. Maher here in just a moment. As soon as I take care of these things. There we go. All right. We've done enough bookkeeping. Let me finish this out.
According to her, but there is this, they are conflating gender and sex because on one hand they say, well, you got your biological sex, but then your gender is whatever social construct. But then they turn around and say that trans women are women. So a man who identifies with the gender, the social construct of womanhood actually is a woman. So if you can laugh all you want, but this is a logical problem. You are conflating sex and gender just by saying that. So that's the.
Okay. So he's correct. But Matt, you would be so much more convincing if you would just know this. If you would just commit the 4 laws of behavioral genetics to memory. Do that. Hit them with facts. That's the one thing they can't conflict with. They can't. And they're there. You're intellectually lethargic. If I can pick this shit up, you can most definitely pick this stuff up. You can do it. I believe in you, Matt. You can pick up on this stuff. Get that. Run that up against them. Show them what's going on. Like hammer them with objective empirical data. That's the only way. And unless you commit this stuff to memory, like I was joking around, like people were saying, like, are you going to go do the debate with on H3 with Ethan Klein and everything like that? And because we did if you haven't seen it yet, there's a clip of it now, but myself and Myron and Fresh responded to them like on the Fresh Fit podcast. So go look at it, guys. But I was thinking about that and I go, you know what? I'll tell you what, Ethan, here, I'll throw the gauntlet down there. I'll go and do the debate solo with you. I'll do it by myself with with my notebook. I'll leave my notebook here. I'll do it with just what's in here. I will go and do that debate and I will kick your ass on any debate when it comes to intersexual dynamics, when it comes to game, when it comes to like female nature, male nature. I will kick your ass and I'll do it with one hand tied behind my back. That's the confidence that I have. And that's the confidence a guy like Matt Walsh needs when he goes up against this kind of stuff. Because until he does, it's just ideology versus ideology. Well, you're telling me that a guy who believes that he's actually a woman is actually a woman. No, that's their ideology, man. That's their religion. It's their religion versus your religion. You're not, the problem that's going on here is I think that Matt believes that he's the voice of reason in all this. And in a way he is, but he's really the voice of whatever his particular traditional ideology is. You're not going to hear conventional masculinity leave his lips. He could eat, like, if I was on this show right here, I would have destroyed all of those people on there. That's why I don't get invited to those things. So Bill Maher, Matt Walsh, give me the call. I'm not gonna come at you. I'm just gonna tell you how you want to be. You want a way. If you're gonna be out there, and if you go, I want to dip my toe in the red pill. I want to dip my toe in the manosphere. I've been doing this for 20 years, Matt. Bill Maher, 20 years I've been doing this. I come correct. I would walk away in that play. I'll be walking away like freaking like Iron Man and Iron Man 1, explosion behind me as I'm just walking off into the sunset after those guys are done. Trust me, that's how it would go down. But they don't want to talk about that because that doesn't give them that 30-second clip. Thank you very much for your contribution today, my friend. We'll throw that out of there. Now, I'm about to get to Bill Maher, but I want to finish these really quick. You guys are having, I tell you, I am of two minds about super chats. Thank you, by the way, for contributing today, my friends, because I'm about to put Bill Maher up here. And the reason why I held off for so long is because I didn't want to do it at the front. Because if I do, then that's going to get the copyright strike. And I'm expecting a copyright strike as soon as I do this, because this is HBO and this is Bill Maher's show. Now, I have a little bit of hope because I went to the show and I pulled this clip, and whenever I see that little scissors thing on YouTube, you'll see it now. It'll say clip this clip, right? So that you can take it and share it on like social media or whatever. I'm hoping that means it's like, I don't say public domain, but that they encourage you to clip it. So please, HBO, Bill Maher, please don't give me a copyright strike for this. I don't want one. I like to have these conversations, but I also like the conversations that you guys are throwing at me right now. As soon as I'm done with this, I promise you we'll come back to this. I really want to talk about this one too, because that's really good. Sammy, make sure you bookmark this. Put an asterisk by that one. I want to definitely come back to Hetlo. Sam Whiskey, who I always read. Woke companies don't have money for a new printer. They have money for a transgender bathrooms. Yes. Your company? Hot damn. Thank you very much, my friend, for your contribution. You and Rich Cooper have opened my eyes to this reality. Thank you for the leadership in this space. Love the content and fresh and fit out as well when you team up. Thank you as well. Thank you very much for that, KO videos. KO videos. Now I'm going to have to go look you up, dude, because I had who was the guy that came in my comments that was like a really big, he was like a 2 million subbed channel, and I can't remember his name. But they were commenting on the clip that I put up when I was on Saucecast with Torsha and Israel Girl. And it was Gary V. That's what it was. It was about Gary V's divorce, which we'll talk about today, I promise. But I can't remember the guy's name. But thank you for subscribing. Homie Clicks. Is that like a Hero Clicks? But it's Homie Clicks. Okay. What going on, Rollo? Redpill is going mainstream. They can't stop it, and us. Soon our project will go mainstream. Redpill Lions Unite. Yes. Where'd you go? Hold on. This is good.
Tell that bitch to be cool. Say bitch, be cool. Be cool. Say bitch, be cool.
There, you get that. Alex, as the Pentagon and the DoD, Department of Defense, for those of you not living in the United States, have become increasingly staffed by women, the primary mode of our foreign policy has shifted from traditional warfare to sanctions and economic warfare. Yes, it has. Hold that thought, because we're going to talk about that coming up next on The Rational Male. Will the hardback copies of your book come out later this year? Yes, they're already in the process. I'll explain to you why that is, because I'm going to give you an update on the books situation at the end of the show. But yeah. Sam Whiskey again. Dude looks like a lady, but he can't leave the Ukraine. Yeah, everybody wants to play girl until the bullets start flying, right? I think. What happened here? Oh, you bookmarking. Thank you. Okay. Okay. You were confusing me for a second. I'm looking at Sam in the DMs right here. Sorry, my bad. All right. Let me kick out Matt Walsh. And now we're going to move on to the premiere section of today's show. As soon as I answer one man's chorus, $5 chat, trans ideology doesn't care about behavioral genetics. Saying that trans people aren't what they say they are won't stop transgenderism. Yeah, but it's a good fucking start. If you say he instead of she, that's a good start. Here's why that works. You want me to tell you why it actually does work? Because as soon as you start refusing that, as soon as our language outranks their language, as soon as people start speaking our language and not their language, then that person is disincentivized to want to be whatever that epithet is, whatever that category is. Speak the language of objective truth. Speak the language of empiricism and do it unapologetically, no matter what the crowd says. And that's really hard. I get it. But if you want to disincentivize people from the ideology, from the belief set, the misguided, empirically disprovable belief set that they hold, that tattoo chick, it's like she's got a goiter or something on her neck. Tattoo chick that she holds, you're not going to do that if you keep speaking their language. Stop speaking their language. Kebby. Is that like, wasn't he on iCarly? Oh, no, it's Gibby. Somebody needs to name themselves Gibby. You know what? Fake Rollo, I'm not going to ban you if you come back and you name yourself Gibby, like Gibby from iCarly, then you can come and participate in the chat. Hey, Rollo, this is off topic. I'm great. I'm sure you've touched on this. Yes, I did. Can you please do a breakdown? Please do a breakdown on Netflix series Bad Vegan. Funny you should say so. I did kind of a mini breakdown on Rule Zero on this very channel, not even 24 hours, well, a little over 24 hours ago. But yeah, I will. In fact, I'm going to talk about that just sort of in passing here in just a second. Okay, stop. Okay, thank you for the super chats. Keep them coming. But I'm going to get on to Bill Maher right now. We're at the 145 mark. I hope I'm safe in doing this now. I did this deliberately, by the way. I didn't want to lead with this because I knew that I was going to get kicked if I did. So I'm going to put Bill Maher's latest red pill rant here. I'm going to let him go for a little while. I'll try not to interrupt him too much. I do want to stop him at certain points because I want to point out the things that he's not necessarily wrong about, but it's like now suddenly out of the blue, everybody wants to dip their toe in the manosphere. And this is what we're talking about. So I love this stuff. People want to say, well, is he red pill? He's no more red pill than anybody else that I know in the mainstream that people want to say he is or he isn't. However, before I start this video, I want to put a preface here is that he is part of a group of people in the mainstream who have acknowledged this shit. And you know what woke them up, or what gave, well, I shouldn't say it woke them up. They probably knew this already, but what gave them the courage to actually say something like this was a war. Was Russia invading Ukraine. It took Russia invading the Ukraine for this to happen. That's where we're at right now. I had to leave it for that last one. So I had to come back for that last bit right there. Now, clearly, Bill, you know what an incel is. And I'm glad that's actually the reason I came to the end of that there was because I want to talk about that a little bit. Because as you know, I was quoted in the Epic Times twice. Soon to be 3 times. I think we got another one coming out. And actually, I think the first one I was interviewed about was incels. Like, why do you think there's the rise in incels? And I'm trying to like be as diplomatic as I possibly can about this because most people who are like in the mainstream, they just look at incel and they say, oh, virgin, perma virgin. Loser, right? That's what they think when they think incel. It's just another epithet for loser, for sexist, virginic loser. Well, Bill and everybody else, you got to remember that there are more and more and more and more and more of those guys to the point where we've got the FBI like asking, FBI, open up! We got the FBI asking for information on incels because they think that they're being radicalized and they're going to be the next terror cell in the United States, which is absolutely ridiculous. As long as there's pornography, as long as there's free online ubiquitous 4K streaming pornography, there is never going to be, you are not barking up the wrong tree, my friends. And I will also say this, And people sent me that article. Stop sending me the article. Yes, I know that the FBI is looking for incels right now. Boy, Rollo, you're on notice. No, I'm not. I'll be happy to tell you whatever you want to know, Mr. FBI agent, because most people's understanding of incel is the boogeyman. Nobody gets paid if there is no boogeyman. Got it? Okay. You know how I know it's the boogeyman? Because in every one of these articles, the only person that they go back to is they go, do you guys remember a man or a guy or a kid or an incel by the name of Elliot Rodger? He went on a murderous rampage through Cal State Santa Barbara in 2014. Oh, wait, that was, I don't know, 8-9 years ago. Yeah, what, 8 years ago, 7 years ago? We keep coming back to Elliot Rodger. Tragedy. Don't get me wrong. But since then, how many raging, murderous incels have there been besides Roman McClay, who was actually invited to the 21 convention? Yes, he was. I have the evidence. Thank you. So, but I mean, let's just say, for sake of argument, Elliot Rodger was the kick things off for us in 2014. Since 2014 to 2022, of the mass shooting incidents, of the active shooters, and there's been quite a few. There's probably one or two this month that I don't even know about because they happen so often, right? Of them, how many of them were incels? How many of them were members of PUA hate? Or what is it? Slut hate, because PUA hate got canceled, right? Now slut hate because we don't now we don't hate Chads, we hate Stacy's, right? And they know these cutesy terminologies and everything. And so they come out, incel this, incel that. They don't even know what incel means. I have to explain what incel even means. Involuntary celibate. That's what it means. What's a vol cell? What's a chin cell? Rollo, we need you to tell us what a chin cell is. Rollo, we need you to tell us what a height cell is. What's a gym? What is it? A gym cell? Tell us what a gym cell is. You're height mogging me. You're face mogging me. What does that mean? It's this cryptic radical language of the radicals. Please tell us. Yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree, my friend. What kills me is this, maybe that's the wrong choice of words, but what kills me is this, is we had in 2017, October of 2017, the worst mass shooting incident in U.S. history happened in Las Vegas. You know what I'm talking about. 77 people dead, shot dead at a country music festival. We haven't had one, and nobody cares. No one fucking cares. Here we are in 2022. That happened in 2017. I remember the day it happened because, I'm at that time I had accounts in Vegas that I was going to. I'm just like, what the hell just happened, right? No explanation. There ain't no Netflix documentary on that atrocity. You won't see that, but you'll sure as shit see another documentary on Tinder swindler or on, I don't know, what is it? Inventing Anna, or on Bad Vegan. Why did they even call it Bad Vegan? That was stupid. You couldn't come up with a better name. Bad Vegan. Stupid. Come on, come to me. I'll give you a better name. I can give you a better title than that, guys. But there's nobody that's doing anything or researching. And don't tell me it's the elves, and don't tell me it's the CIA, or don't tell me he was an informant, or he was the guy who's a shooter, was on Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Island or whatever. Whatever. You're not seeing a documentary made out of it. You're not seeing the FBI going, I wonder who radicalizes. Tell you what, that guy had been on slut hate, or on PUA hate, or on, so suave. If that guy had been on alt fast seduction, you would have heard it the next fucking day, man. That would have been right up front page news. Don't bury the lead there. Oh, he's a glowy. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. There is that. Of course. Well, but not my point. Not my point. Point is this, is that we're barking up the wrong tree. But if there is no boogeyman, no one gets paid. And if men don't man up and take responsibility, nobody gets paid. If we have an answer to what is a woman, nobody gets Matt Walsh sure shit doesn't get paid. If we go, well, guys, you need to man up and you need to be go to school and you need to have a job and you need to get out of your mom's basement and you need to start jerking off to Pornhub and you need to stop smoking weed and you need to stop drinking so much and stop taking your prescription drugs, OxyContins, right? What? Stop playing Call of Duty and Elden Rings. Stop it, because you need to man up and prepare yourselves, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to fulfill the hopes and dreams of all these women who are going to be, ass out, who are going to want to fuck the guy, the president of the Ukraine. If you guys, you need to be more like this guy, like the Ukraine guy. Okay, yes. Men need to man up. Yes, men need to take responsibility. It's what is it? It's radical ownership. No, it's extreme ownership. Okay, once we get past that, what else is there? It's always qualify to women qualify. That is the harbinger of beta, the hallmark of beta thinking. Savior schema. If we can just solve women's problems, they'll want to fuck us. No, they won't, particularly in first world countries where they got no use for you. You know who they have use for, Bill Maher? They got use for the guy who's the hot alpha. They have no use for guys who are average men. If you've been watching Fresh and Fit enough to start, at least dragging quotes from those guys, drag this one out too. Average women don't want average men. No matter what they are, there's such a, I talk about this all the time when it comes to setting yourself apart and mastery and it's never been easier to just improve yourself. And that is true, but you have to also remember that there's two sides to that equation, and one has a dick and one has a cooter. And we don't talk about the cooter side. We don't say, ladies, you get the men you deserve. That's not going to come out of Bill Maher's mouth. That's not going to come out of Matt Walsh's mouth. That's not going to come out of the roommates. That's not going to come out of sure as shit not coming out of Candace Owens' mouth. It's not coming out of Allie Beth Stuckey's mouth or PragerU. It's not coming out of you're never going to hear that. Women are sinless. They're perfect. Women are wonderful. There's a psychological, sociological phenomenon called that. You will not hear that. We're not supposed to be judgmental. We're not supposed to have an opinion whether that woman's good enough for us or not. Okay, I'll do what you said. I'll man up. I'll take responsibility. I'll be a good husband. I will get a good job I'll be an electrician, right? I'll get into a trade, a good marketable trade. I'll do something that's honorable. I'll go to church every Sunday. I'll be active in my community. I'll own my own business. I'll do all that. And you know what? Swipe left. That's where that goes. That's not a complaint. That's not an incel you just stop complaining about how girls and this and that. No, that's not a complaint. That's fucking reality, my friend. That's not emotion. Rollo's having an emotional reaction because he's raising his voice. No, I'm raising my voice for emphasis. It's not emphasize the point that we live in an image-based society right now. The only reason Bill Maher is using CNP and he's capturing the tweets from women who want to sexy as fuck, right? The only reason he's doing that is because that's image. Those chicks don't look at of course you can't see because he blurs them out, but let's look at the chick. Let's look at the girl who's doing that. Well, by that logic, if I'm supposed to do what's going to make me the sexiest, then I need to be a convicted felon. I need to go be a mass murderer, right? I need to go do something I need to be a criminal. Because apparently that's sexy as fuck. And you can do it in a pro-social way and save your country. Yeah, I need more bullets. I need to be John Wick. Okay. But the dynamic's the same. I want a guy who can kick ass. Women don't care about what you do. They don't care about what average men do. They don't care about your struggles. They wait at the finish line. They fuck the winners. Or they would very much like to. Well, now, can all women facilitate that? No, of course not. They have to look for a man with potential. Got it. But Bill, if you're going to quote Fresh and Fit, which is paraphrasing me, but if you're going to quote Fresh and Fit, Quote the one about how average women don't want to get with average men. In fact, I think by the way, if any of the directors, the PR guys, writers, I don't know, talent, whoever, if any of your people are watching this, allow me to introduce you to the female delusion calculator. Oh, also, and at the same time, just because we need to be fair, the male delusion calculator as well. You know, if I did that, now imagine this. Imagine I say, hey, okay, real time guys, I know you're looking for content. I'm a wealth of knowledge. Here you go. I'm going to give you the female delusion calculator, and I'm going to give you the male delusion calculator. Which one do you think they'll start with? Which calculator, which link will they click on first? Class, what do you think? Oh, wait, there.
Hello there, children. How's it going?
Yeah, class, tell me what you think. What do you think would happen? Kyle, enjoyed your appearance on Legal Mindset. Oh, thanks. Would love to see you on Lawyer Nick Rakita show. People that you're like not the first person to ask me that. I would do it. I know another guy who's dipping his toes in the manosphere. He has talked about several topics you cover and was on You Are Here. Yeah, that's how I know him. I think it would be a great conversation. I agree. If you guys want to go and petition Nick to get me on, because if I go do it, no one, who the fuck is this? Rollo Tony Brent. That's what's going to happen. But if you guys go and ask him, then maybe he'll take it seriously. I would love to. Would love to. Wait. Zero morals, women. Well, they have to get to the point where they actually are taught morals. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. You and Pat, remember, go to church on Mother's Day, go to church on Father's Day. Yes. And note the difference Right, Rollo? Yes. I remember the Father's Day episodes that we did. Some of I got to dig those up, man. I got to dig those up. I can't help but get a lump in my throat every time I go back and I look at Pat. I look at Pat's like the stuff that we did, because that was like, you want to talk about golden era rational male, like this channel, that's it. Sorry. Godspeed, Pat. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Let's move back. Oh, did I get everybody? Did I get to everybody? I think I did. I got to Kyle. I got to Kyle. If society enforced traditional roles for women, no man would ever impersonate one, because it wouldn't be enough simply to look like one. Women have to do something that men can't do. Okay, that has nothing to do with enforced traditional roles. Remember this. If you remember one thing, that traditional roles, society is downstream from evolved gender roles, from sexual dimorphism, from the girls we want to fuck, right? It's downstream from that. Family, society, tribe, nationality, whatever, your enforced tradition, culture is all downstream from the evolved machine. It's all downstream from that. So unless you start, I'm not saying it's not important. It is. But unless you recognize that first, the incentive can't come from a socially constructive, it's not a social constructionism incentive. You have to make it fucking hurt. Sorry. It's the only way that human beings, well, really animals, learn. Pleasure and pain, punishment and reinforcement. Now, this is something I know something about when it comes to psychology, behaviorism. That I got it. Pleasure and pain. There has to be some incentive. It has to hurt to want to be. It can't be easy. Johnny wants to be a girl. Okay. Well, I've divorced his dad last year. He's got no say in it. I think we'll go and get hormone blockers for him. It has to come. That's downstream. I'm not saying you're putting the cart before the horse. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you have to address the machine before you address the social aspects of it. Glenn. Hey, Glenn Lawrence. I know that dude. There are people in Hollywood who are slowly embracing the red pill. Because of this, we are about to see a blitz of femme power films. So they can cash in before the shift goes back to pro male heroes. Man, I hope so. I've been saying this for years. Push back against the narrative. Here's Bill Maher doing it. Now, Bill Maher, I'm going to have to stick an asterisk in this whole thing about Bill Maher. I'm glad he is. He's one of the higher profile guys that I know of, and generally got to get a laugh out of. And there have been times that I really like Bill Maher, and there's times I hate Bill Maher. Like when Bill Maher was like playing footsie with Ann Coulter, I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? I don't care if you like or hate Ann Coulter. That was just simpery right there. That was just bald-faced simpery back in the day. But love him or hate him, whatever. I'm glad, because I'll tell you, the thing is, I'm sure somebody, some smart son of a bitch in the comments here is going to go find me a video of Bill Maher talking about how great feminism is. Or ladies, bravo, golf clap for you. Guarantee there's probably something he's done. I mean, he's got hundreds of shows. What, 500, 560, I think. Is that what you said, Sam? He's got a lot of friggin' shows. And he's been on with some and he's been off with others. It's just like, he'll push the envelope, but you got to remember at the end of the day, he's a businessman. So is Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh went on Dr. Phil to essentially it's what I call tilling the fields. He had to make sure that the fields were fertile so that when the documentary comes out about what is a woman, that he already has that in the can. It's already ready to go. So I got to call you out on your bullshit, Matt Walsh. I'm glad you're dipping your toes into these things. And if you want to have the conversation, I promise I won't bite like Michaela. I promise. But if you want to have these conversations and you want to have a no nonsense, no bullshit conversation, it might rub you the wrong way. It might alienate half of your audience, but we're going to talk some real shit. Is that what you're about? Or are you just about the hustle? Maybe you are. Maybe you are about the hustle. You got to respect the hustle too, right? Glenn Lawrence, okay. So I don't want to agree with you, but I do agree with you because I'm seeing it already. I hope people will have taken the advice I gave people a long time ago, certainly on Masculine Geek, when I said, write the next Han Solo, write the next Captain Kirk. I mean, like unapologetic. Don't write actually Kirk, but like that archetype again. Like write that character. Like, I mean, just like rip them off. Rip off like Han Solo. Rip off Captain Kirk. You know why I say that? Not because of plagiarism, but because it's so foreign that nobody will recognize it now. That character, that happy-go-lucky alpha male, don't give a fuck character. I had high hopes that Tony Stark in the Avengers was going to be that, and he was for the first movie or two, and then he pusses out. And then we get Captain Marvel. I hope that I'm going to go see, when it comes out, I'm going to go see Doctor Strange in the multiverse thing. I'm hoping that doesn't go too wokesy. I know it will, but because it's Disney. I hope it doesn't. But I've said that for a very long time. I've said, if you want to be a millionaire, here's the advice. I give this out, free advice. How do I become a millionaire, Rollo? I'm an entrepreneur. Here's how you do it. You push back against this narrative. These guys are putting their toes in the water that I've been like hip deep in. I've been underwater for 20 years now. And they're finally coming to terms with it. And they're only just going, this manosphere, I kind of want to get into it, but I don't. The red pill, well, I agree with this, but 80-20 rule, well, what's that? What's an incel? What's a vol cell? What's a this cell? What's a fuck cell? What's your mom's cell? What's the white pill? What's the black pill? They're doing, I shouldn't say that. They're doing this. This is what they're doing to the red pill right now. They kind of, red pill, come on, do something, right? But again, it's all about the symptoms and not about the disease. They don't want to have the conversation because it's tough. You can't sell it. And I know it's difficult to sell. Let me push this over here. It's difficult to sell rationality. It's difficult to sell empiricism because it doesn't taste good. That's why, I mean, Michaela Peterson learned the hard way. Oh man, this rationalism that this guy, who are you? The rational male who wrote Rollo Tomassi, who wrote the rational male and other books. Yeah. It doesn't taste good. I left that interview with a really bad feeling. Imagine that. Imagine this. Now I go on with Matt Walsh, or I go on with Bill Maher, or who, it doesn't have to be anybody, Dennis Prager. And imagine that conversation, and then imagine me leaving the studio or logging off, and they're like, that didn't taste very good. Their reaction is going to be a whole lot different than Michaela got a lot of mileage out of that, by the way, and still continues to get a lot of mileage out of that. But Glenn, just to finish that thought, I saw the trailer for Obi-Wan. Have you guys seen this trailer? It's going to be on Disney. It's a limited series. It didn't look too bad. It looked like cinematically, it kind of looked like old school Star Wars. And of course, it would have to take place right around, that time, or at least that section of the Star Wars canon, the storyline, right? But guess who the villain is? Guess who the Sith Lord is that's hunting Jedi? Guess. I'll just give you one guess. You don't even have to go. Don't go watch the trailer. Just guess. You're right. I'm not even going to say it. You're right. Oh, that's why I don't have the hope that you do, Glenn. But maybe I'm just an asshat. Oh, okay. This is good. Poor Man's Podcast. This is what I wanted to come back to. These changes are damn near accelerated evolution. Birth control, which I wanted to come back to because I want to start this point about the birth control thing because that has been, and I guess the FDA is talking about it. Birth control, infinite unlearned validation, and the ability to go from 6 to an 8 with makeup, like makeup. Okay. These types of changes would naturally take thousands of years, not so 50 years ago. Yes. You've been doing your homework. Thank you, poor man. PMP? I don't know what your real name is. It's not Darius. I know it's Poor Man's Podcast. I've used your, and thank you, by the way. If you're the real deal, thank you for allowing me to use that one collage or montage video of all of the sporting events between men and women. That was like fantastic. Brilliant. Was that 7 million views right now? So yeah, the changes are damn near accelerated evolution. Yeah, but I don't think it's accelerated evolution so much as it's what's called in evolutionary psychology, it's called genetic gap. And what that means is that the organism does not evolve fast enough for the environmental changes that takes place that threaten the survivability or the adaptability of that organism. Now, in scientific terms, that means the environment changed and the dinosaurs died, right? They couldn't adapt really. Anything with a body weight over a certain tonnage dies. The ice age happens and lizards can't live because they need sunlight. They're cold-blooded animals and they can't warm themselves. Ergo, they're dead. Because environments change. Now, technology is an environmental variable for human beings for sure. So the same principles apply to human beings. But what we're doing now is we're looking at such a rapid pace of technological advancement that the human machine that evolved on 200,000 years ago in sub-Saharan Africa on the savannas, right, in hunter-gatherer tribes, not much has changed, human being wise since then. And our brains are still more or less the same. Not to say that there hasn't been some kind of development between now and then, but certainly we developed agriculture that changed things up. That was a disruptor. Technology, like I was saying before, the Gutenberg press is a good example of that. In my first book, I call them the apples that dropped off the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And every once in a while, a new apple drops off, right? The Gutenberg press. Got an apple, right? It's information that is a game changer for humanity. Gunpowder, that's an apple, right? Maybe just even like written language, that could be, right? Think of all the things that here's one that I didn't mention in the book. Toothbrushes, dental hygiene is a game changer. You don't even think about it, but being able to brush your teeth, like how long ago did we figure out, hey, maybe we better keep our teeth clean, right? Or like oral hygiene or, orthodontia or whatever it is. That was a game changer because if your teeth weren't getting abscesses, fewer people were dying, right? You wouldn't go septic. your teeth weren't falling out, so you'd live a longer life. Our lifespan, the average human lifespan, has extended since certainly we were on the savannas. I don't know what it was back then. Maybe we should all go back to living in mud huts, right? Naturalistic fallacy. But the tree of life or the tree of knowledge of good and evil, I guess, not the tree of infinite life or whatever, which we're probably going to get to, right? But every now and then, an apple drops off. Atomic bomb, apple. Hormonal birth control for women drops off. The internet, globalization, global economics, global communications, the internet, social media. There it is. There's your apple. What are you going to do with it? We don't know what to do with these things, or we do, or we think we do, because we're using our machinery from 200,000 years ago with YouTube. My grandfather, if I took him and if I could go and freeze my grandfather at soon to be 54 years old, and I put him into 2022, and I sat him in this chair and said, go. He has the same name as me too. Go, Rollo. He wouldn't know what to do. I mean, he might like fumble around and try to, do what he thinks is right, but he doesn't have the benefit of my 54, soon to be 54 years of knowledge of, graphic design, the internet, even just like going along with it. So we build on the culture and we build on the database of the generations that came before us. But the problem is now it's moving so rapidly that we can't keep pace with it. We know what we want to do. Why do we have ubiquitous 4K online streaming pornography and don't say it's the evil baby eating cabal of Molech or the elves or something like that? The reason why it's popular is because we're still the same critters that we were 200,000 years ago. And I got infinite access, unlimited access to unlimited sexuality, even in a virtual sense. Sure, I'll go watch the Lisa Ann video. Sure, I'll go jerk off to Brandy Love. trying to think of a name. I'm not going to say Sterling Cooper. I'm not going to jerk off to Sterling Cooper. But it's those advancements. What was it? Somebody made this point at one point where they said, was it the Wright brothers? The Wright brothers learned to they flew their first plane in 1906. Am I right about that? I'm probably wrong on the date. Maybe I'm not. But 60 years later, 1966, we're landing on the moon. And yes, we really landed on the moon. No, we didn't. It was all a stage. Okay, well, whatever. The idea is we could have landed on the moon, and that's what I'm getting at, is the technology in just 60 years went from, hey, let's try to get this glider in the air, to holy shit, we can. The Eagle has landed. and now where are we at right now? We're talking space shuttle. We're talking about we have landers on Mars, I think. Right? Do we or don't we? Are we still talking about the flat Earth and shit like that? The point is this: is like the technology is far outstripping our ability to know what to do with it and how to sort of what are best practices, and we're still figuring that out. And I don't think enough people really realize this, because we take this shit for granted. I take being able to talk to you guys every Sunday for granted, not you guys personally, but like being able to just sit down here. I've got two cameras, but I'm not using the other one. I've got my board. I know how to use it. I've got my switcher here. I've got my stream deck. Do I? Yeah.
Thump that bitch.
Hey, y'all.
Like I can do that, right? All I gotta do is press a button. But now we've got a new invention. We've got hormonal birth control, I guess, it's protein. Is it protein? They say they targeted a protein in sperm or whatever in men, and there is now soon to be a birth control pill for men. Now, I am not an endocrinologist. I know that's shocking. What? Yes, I am not an endocrinologist. I am not a neurologist. I am not a clinical psychologist. I have a degree in behavioral psychology, but it's only a bachelor's degree. Did I get to you? I got to you already. Okay, I'm just going to shoot back down to the bottom. I'll come back. Thank you. Fem Sapiens right here too. Hey, what's up, man? I think women are going to flip over the lack of alpha seed coming in. Do you? Do you honestly think that? I'm glad you started. I'm glad you led off with that. I promised myself I would talk about the new birth control thing because too many people were asking me about it last night. Actually, when I was driving around, what did it say? Oh yeah, there you go. Wait, come back. There it is. But it will give you hips. You'll start ovulating. You'll start finding fat women more attractive. Get them quick. Get them some. Do you guys remember? It used to be back in the day. I think it was in the 70s. Maybe it was the 80s too. But if you looked in the back of like a Hustler magazine or a Penthouse magazine, and yes, I know I'm dating myself, sue me. But in the back, they usually had these advertisements. There's two advertisements you always remembered after you're done stroking off, right? There was the ad for the booklet or whatever, how to get girls, how to talk to girls, which really was sort of the forerunner, if you think about it, to the PUAs. But I digress. Then there was the ad for Spanish Fly. Do you guys remember Spanish Fly? Do you even know what Spanish Fly is? It's bullshit, but there used to be like horny goat weed. Have you ever taken horny goat weed? Have you ever tried to get your girlfriend to take horny goat weed? Like hoping, wow, like Bill Maher was just saying, you know, we live in a sexless marriage. So I wonder if I could spike my wife's drink with horny goat weed and see if she can get into it. Or Viagra. I guess Viagra is sort of like Spanish Fly, but it's sort of pointless because it's like, I mean, if you got erectile dysfunction, okay, I get it. Yes, I am aging myself right now. Thank you very much. Thank you for reminding me. Well, you know, Allie, go ask your husband. I'm sure he'll know what Spanish Fly is. You know what I'm saying? So Spanish Fly was supposed to be an aphrodisiac, right? Like we're always looking for shit that's going to make women horny. Like, let's go have some oysters. Oysters don't make you horny. There's no freaking aphrodisiac effect of oysters. But you know what? It does have an aphrodisiac effect. The suggestion or the idea, the belief that oysters should in some way get women horny. And they're aphrodisiac. Oh, are they? And if she's into it, she's like, yeah, I'll go slurp down raw oysters with you. That's some nasty ass shit, but I want to get laid. So I'm going to go through this ritual with you because that means that I'm going to be that much hornier for you. There is, and I'm about to ruin your day here. It's funny how Mr. Playboy Mansion is lecturing us about toxic masculinity. Yeah, that's right. That's right. He was a regular at the Playboy Mansion, wasn't he? And he was also Adderall. Does Adderall make you horny? I don't know. I've never taken Adderall, so I don't know. Yeah, Rollo after dark. I'm going to be like, Delilah after. How believable would I be if I did a Delilah? Delilah, hi guys. We're going to talk about hypergamy. Do you know what that is? I'm going to tell you for the next 4.5 hours. So Spanish Fly. Spanish Fly was supposed to be an aphrodisiac. So I'm thinking about the things that are supposed to be aphrodisiacs. There was for a while. Okay, so that's the bullshit. Okay, now here I'm going to ruin your day. Here's why I'm going to ruin your day is because remember when I told you about magical thinking? If you've read my fourth book, I elaborate on this a little bit more. But when I talk about magical thinking, there's actually a component to the human brain, to our machines, that gives us hope, like idealism. Magical thinking. It's imagination. It's where imagination comes from. In my fourth book, I make the case. I think I quoted, was it Albert Einstein when somebody said, "Oh, you know, what's more important, knowledge or imagination?" And of course, it's imagination, because we live in emotionalism. So that sounds right. Let's quote. He's a smart guy. Let's put him on a motivational poster. No, knowledge and imagination are both components of really human advancement, if you think about it. But we need imagination. We need magical thinking. I don't think it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It just is. Imagination, idealism, like men tend to be way more idealistic than women do because we're the problem solvers, as Bill Maher was observing, right? Well, we solve problems. Ladies, we're going to come over there and fix your radiator. Well, radiator's broken, fix radiator. Angawa. But there has to be a radiator to begin with. Somebody had to imagine a radiator. Somebody had to imagine like a dishwasher, or somebody had to imagine a bridge that goes over that river so we can see whatever the hell's on the other side of that river. That's what I mean by idealism. Idealism can be the worst thing in, like, it's responsible for the worst atrocities of human history, but it's also responsible for the greatest successes for human history. It's like there is no toxic imagination and there's no positive imagination. There's just imagination and how human beings use that. Just like there's no positive or negative, there's no toxic femininity, no toxic masculinity. There's only masculinity, and you do yourselves no favors by not accepting that very basic bone. It's a curb this fucking high. I love that illustration. What did you say? Your thoughts on male contraception and the destruction of families and marriage already. I have already talked about that, but that's what bear with me. I sorry, I know I'm rambling. Just stop me in the middle. In fact, you probably are. What does it spell? What does it spell for you? It's disaster. No. I mentioned this yesterday, and so as far as the aphrodisiac thing is concerned, the reason why I bring this up is because anytime like when the birth control pill comes out and somebody says, "Hey, now we can fuck, now we can have sex, and we don't have to worry about babies. Oh, only women get to control it." Okay, I'm good with that. Let's do it. Sexual revolution, free love, Studio 54, key party, swingers, Playboy, Hustler, Penthouse, porn movies in the theaters, and then later it goes to VHS, and now we're fucked. But it all started at one place, and that's 1965, 60s, somewhere in there, like mid 60s, with hormonal birth control. And it only gave control to one sex, the one who was taking the pill, the woman. And granted, remember this, by the way, before you ask me about, well, what do you think the social ramifications are going to be? Is the world going to explode because of the male birth control? Before you ask me that question, the better question to ask is this. How come we don't have it already? How come we have more than that. We got 7 landers on Mars shooting, streaming 4K high def video from the surface of another fucking planet. Imagine the technology and the inventions and the imagination that had to go into all of that. We can do that, but we're just now coming to terms with men's biology, and we're going to figure out how to give them a pill. How much do you want to bet they have already had this pill, like, it's like in some like archive somewhere, like in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they take the Lost Ark and they put it into some warehouse. Humanity's not ready for the Allah. Who's going to, top men are on this case, right? They take it and they archive and they put it in this big giant warehouse, and you never hear from it again because it's too dangerous for humanity. How much you want to bet they have had male birth control in that warehouse somewhere in some secret, in NORAD underground somewhere. And they're like, looks like it's time for male birth control. I guarantee you they've had that for a lot longer than, well, we don't want to have Vasagel because that's going to make guys grow tits, right? Don't worry about it. We got it taken care of. Just give us a few more years. Wait, nobody's taking the vaccine anymore. How can we sell a new product? Hey, what about in the archive with the Raiders with the Lost Ark? It's right next to the Lost Ark. Go get male birth control and bring it out. That'll sell. And they are right, my friends.
You're goddamn right.
It will sell. Because now we're going to put the human reproductive process back in the control of really both sexes. And it's going to be in the control of men. But yeah, they probably are. Yeah, exactly. See, am I? Thank you for being ahead of the curve, Sorelita base. Thank you for being ahead of the curve. You go to the head of the class.
Hello there, children. How's it going?
All right. I bet they've already had it for a long time. Big pharma, we can plot the human genome, but we can't figure out how to make men infertile, turn it on and turn it off. No, we can do that. We've been doing it for a while. We probably have had it for a long time. Yes. Yes, it is called. You get that. That's too good. I gotta. Yes, it is. It's called veganism. Yes. What were you saying here? Male birth control pill would lower birth rate to dangerous levels. Do you think so? I agree, but I probably agree for a different reason. You're right, for the wrong reason. Okay, so let me explain to you why. Okay, now here's how the aphrodisiac ties into all of this. If you could create a pill that would make women horny, they actually tried to do this for a while. They tried to market what was called the pink pill. It was sort of like the answer to Viagra. And as Bill Maher was saying, the sexlessness rates of married couples, which are at an all-time low statistically, go look it up. Don't be a lazy son of a bitch. Go on Google and do it yourself. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. But go and look at that, and look at the fertility rate, and look at the marriage rate, and look at the divorce rate, and look at the sexual partner count rate. Look at the stats for women who are, like we talked about this on Fresh and Fit. Look at you can't just go, okay, well, you can trace it back to this, but you can't just take one data set. You can't just say, here's what's happened. Women are taking the birth control pill and they're more interested in beta males instead of alpha males, which is bullshit, but I'll tell you why in just a second. Divorce rate, marriage rate, masculine. He was just saying this, decline in testosterone. That's not because guys are just like, I think I'm going to go vegan. No, it's because there's phytoestrogens in the blood, in the water supply right now. It's because we have, is it CFCs? The plastics have something to do with like killing testosterone. It's not, and again, empirical data. It's right there. You can find it. You don't have to take my word for it. Go do your own goddamn homework. But they produced this pill, the pink pill, that was supposed to be some sort of an aphrodisiac, basically. It was supposed to get your wife horny. It was like the answer to Viagra. But it was the girl pill. It was the girl Viagra. And you know what? It's still around, but nobody talks about it because it died. It wasn't marketable. Why wasn't it marketable? Class, do you know why it wasn't marketable? Because women wouldn't take it. They didn't want to take the pink pill. Not because it didn't work. Because they are hypergamous. Hubby is a fat piece of shit and he doesn't turn me on. I'm not taking some pill for that to make me horny for, what would probably happen is she'd take the pink pill and she's end up like rubbing one out to like Jason Momoa or like some, whatever porn they're into. That's probably what would happen. It wouldn't facilitate like sex between, married, wonderfully, moral couples. It would facilitate that woman going, you know what? I need to go get laid and it ain't with this guy. That's what it probably would have come down to. But it didn't come down to that because women didn't want to take the pill. They didn't want the pink pill. They didn't want to take it because the firmware and the hardware resisted the software that says, hey, take this pill and you'll want to fuck your husband, even though he's a fat piece of shit. You're not going to chemically change that. T-Rex doesn't want to be fed. T-Rex wants to hunt. Have you guys heard me use that before? That illustration? That's right out of Jurassic Park, right? It's when they are trying to feed the T-Rex a goat. That famous scene. There's this little goat that's eventually dies and gets eaten, right? But T-Rex, and one of the doctors, it's not Jeff Goldblum, but the other guy. He says this. He says, T-Rex doesn't want to be fed. T-Rex wants to hunt. You can't repress 65 million years of gut instinct or something. I'm paraphrasing, something like that. And that's essentially why women want T-Rex don't want to take the pink pill either, because you're removing control over hypergamy. And that is the existential fear of all women, to have their sexual selectivity removed. That's why I'm talking about male birth control, because the selectivity now switches hands. That's what's going to fuck up fertility. That's what's going to fuck up society. If that's happened, that's what's going to happen. Oh, I can fuck this guy and I don't have to worry about getting baby. I don't have to worry about having a baby. Oh, she's on the pill and I'm on the pill. We're double covered, man. We don't have to worry about that because 99.9% effective. She's 98.7%. I think that's it, depending on what she's taking. Remember, there's more than one type of birth control for women, like hormonally. Put it this way, between the two of us, we're really pretty double covered. If somebody gets pregnant, it's because somebody fucked up. Now, the problem with that is it removes sexual selectivity. It removes the reproductive stranglehold women have had on the reproductive process since 1965. And I will say this, if it takes off, if the birth control pill takes off for men, and by the way, I think the timing is very suspect. When Big Pharma says, well, nobody's going to take our shitty vaccines anymore. What will sell? How about a male birth control pill? Go get it. It's right next to the lost Ark of the Covenant. And they'll trot it out there and they'll probably make a ton of money off of it. Will it be an apple that fell off the tree of knowledge? Maybe. We'll see. Guess what? We're going to find out. But I think that it's certainly going to be a disruptor, a social disruptor, a humanity disruptor, because it's going to disrupt women's ability to reproduce. Now, will women always be able to go to the sperm bank and say, you know what, fuck those guys, I'm just going to go reproduce and electively be a single mommy? I think what you will see is an increase in single motherhood. That's what you'll see as a result of this, because guys be like, I ain't doing it, but if you want to pay me for my jizz, $300, man. It's on. Would you like some ROLLO TOMASSI jizz? It's not $300. It's $3,000 per sperm. But you can find that. You can go, women can electively reproduce whenever they want to. You know, it's going to be a real game changer is when we have, exogenesis or some shit like that. Exo something, I can't remember. Like when we have birthing pods and we're pod people. Trust me, Zuckerberg's probably working on the birthing pod right now. If we can clone lamb, if we can clone Dolly the lamb, we can probably figure out how guys can electively be single fathers too. As far as it being a healthy thing, no. But again, what did I say before? Genetic gap. It is something that we will have probably dropped in our laps, and we're going to have to figure out what the fuck to do with it. And in that time, Sam Neill, thank you. Yeah, it was Sam Neill who was Dr. something or other, classic Jurassic Park. Yeah. And here's another great one. Michael Crichton was much more prolific, I think, than most people give him credit for, because there was the Jeff Goldblum line, and he said, because he was a doctor too, and he said, you guys were so busy and so preoccupied trying to figure out if you could do something that you never asked yourself if you should do that. Should we have hormonal birth control for either sex? Are we ready for it? Is it possible? I mean, maybe we just have to do it trial by fire, right? Maybe there's no getting around it. But let's just say, for sake of argument, we could go back in time. I got a time machine. We're going to go back to 1964. I've got the male birth control pill and I've got the female birth control pill, and we haven't taken it on market yet. We haven't released it upon this plague upon it. It hasn't been released from the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse yet, right? We haven't released it upon humanity. Now I've got both of these pills. Am I going to go, I wonder if the humans are ready for this yet? Fuck no. I'm going to go, I can make a bajillion dollars off of this, and I'm going to market it. But let's just say, for sake of argument, I could do something like that. Would the societal effect be different if I said, okay, I got these 2 great inventions, and you made it public? You say, I've got these inventions. Both of these inventions will prevent you from ever having kids, or you can decide you could do family planning, right? And what happens if I withhold those from humanity until because I'm God, right? Until I think you're ready to have the responsibility for these. Is the world a different place because I'm waiting for people to mature into being able to handle the responsibility and the accountability, liability of being able to fuck on demand, sport fucking, right? We are the products right now. God, I'm going to get real philosophical. Sorry. We are the products of, really 65, like since 1965, but 60 plus years of social changes that occurred as a result of the atom bomb, of defeating Nazi Germany, defeat the hormonal birth control pill, self-driving cars. And certainly the internet, like the apples that fell off the tree. We're the products right now. My understanding of family planning, my understanding of abortion, my understanding of divorce, my understanding of sex, my understanding of how am I going to get laid, right, are all the products of the last 65 years of social changes. And one of the most significant, like I said, was hormonal birth control that is unilaterally controlled by women. Take that away from them, and what happens? Like, how can we prognosticate? Maybe this is something I need to bring up at the. I'm going to go see Robert Kiyosaki. Like I said, on my birthday on Saturday, April 2nd. I might bring this topic up just as a point of discussion. Like, what will happen when men, exclusively men, now have control? At least, let's just say half control over the human reproductive process. What happens? What about male nature will happen in light of taking a pill and not being able and becoming sterile? Are there going to be side effects? I can't imagine there aren't. I mean, wasn't that one of the reasons why Vassal gel never took off? Because you get gynecomastia, you get bitch tits, right? Because you turn into a chick, because you're essentially messing with your hormones. Well, I guess this is like messes with proteins in the sperm cells. So I don't know how, again, like I said, I don't know the mechanics of it, but I can speculate what the social impact of it will be according to what men's visceral sexual nature is. Guys are going to go, hey man, I don't have to go worry about getting laid. Let's go hit the clubs. Is that what's going to happen? What happens? Like, what's the difference, like, say, between a guy who takes the male pill, who is married or is in a relationship? How does that affect that guy versus how does it affect the guy who's out there running game and like M&Ms and just, all right, let's go hit the clubs tonight. Let's go down to Komodo. How does, like, what's the social impact of the guy who's already married, who's like maybe is in a sexless marriage to begin with? Oh, give me a baby. Like, women are not going to have, like, it's going to really fuck women up. Like, I'm not going to lie here, because I know this is the most logical thing people are going to say. Guys are going to say, this is going to really fuck women up. Ha ha. They finally get it. They'll finally learn, finally feel our pain. No, they won't. They'll feel your pain insofar as the guy who is fertile or the guy who is off the pill, the male pill, it will be more of a compromise, I think. But who's doing the compromising is the question that I'm saying. What was it? Oh, you can go get, like, imagine, I think I did the episode on vasectomies. Like that one senator was like saying, oh, young boys, when they get to be hit puberty, they should have a nationwide, national mandated vasectomy. That's a reversal, like it's fantasy land, right? A vasectomy that can be reversed, but only when that man proves that he's a good dad and he's got a college degree and he's got this and he's got that and he's got all this stuff and he's responsible enough to have a child. Of course, what that's supposed to illustrate is that, oh, it's supposed to be something like abortion for women. Like, we're taking away your choice because we're going to clip your nuts until you're mature enough to do what we want you to do. See how fucked up that is? No, that's apples and oranges, dumb bitch. It is. It's a difference because the machines are different. You know what? You might, I forget what her name is. She was a senator or a congresswoman in Florida. Her name escapes me right now. But when I did the vasectomy, and a lot more guys are getting it these days. When I did the vasectomy episode, I remember that. And she was trying, it was a joke, of course, a joke. This is what women in power focus on, right? Jokes. But it was meant to be some sort of like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. What's equal and opposite reaction, So it's only fair that if guys get to fuck around all they want, then women should be able to fuck around too. No, we're different. No, men actually, clearly, as Bill Maher was saying, a guy who can lay down the pipe is more respectable than the guy who can't. That's why we have terms like incel in the first place. So clearly there's a difference between the two of us, and I don't have to get into that. You guys already know what I'm going to talk about. But the point is that when she was talking about that, the presumption is, again, that men and women are equal. Like we're just the same thing. We just have different plumbing. And the only reason we're upset about this, or the reason men are upset about abortion, is because they shouldn't have any say at the table. They shouldn't have any control over where their money is allocated for things like abortion, because women should never be judged. And if they are, then it's because you're patriarchal, and you should have your nuts snipped until such a time as you can prove that you're not patriarchal. That's really the message behind all of that. So you got this whole vasectomy nonsense that's going on, but the conversation is still rooted in the idea that men and women are just the same, and they are not just the same. And we have to take that context and we have to apply it to male birth control right now, because men are going to use male birth control in a much different way than women are. Women used it as a form of power. Do you think, and this is a non-rhetorical question requiring answer, do you think that men will use it as some big comeuppance? Do you think that men will use it as some sort of revenge? Because it doesn't work as revenge for men. Ha! Those bitches are never going to get my seed. Yeah, they don't really want your seed. You have to have something that would make them actually want to fuck you, similar to why women won't take the pink pill. All of this fits together. You've got to take data point after data point after data point. Vasectomy is being mandated, right? How is that going to affect like fertility rates? For damn sure. How is that going to affect fertility rates going forward into the future? Well, they're not going to get my seed. No, but they will get the seed of the guy who's jerking off into a cup, who meets the girl there was a guy in Holland, like the guy in the Netherlands who's selling his jizz on Facebook, meets the girl. Comes in a nice little, I don't know, resealable, shoot one off into, the Ziploc. I don't know how it works, but he sells his jizz online, impregnates the woman, and that's how it works. It's not even regulated anymore, at least in the Netherlands, as far as I know. If you want to sell your sperm online, I don't think there's any laws that are preventing you from doing that. I mean, you could just say, hey, I'll meet you and we'll fuck for a while and then you'll get it. We could do it the old fashioned way, or I can just give it to you in a Ziploc. Send it out. Parcel post. I'll FedEx my jizz to you. It's not about dirty panties anymore. It's about healthy, fertile jizz, right? That'll be how much you want to bet there will be businesses that crop up around men being in control of their own reproductive deal. Yeah, I'd say, and I have to tag this on there too before I get to the rest of these supers here. There was a story. Actually, there's several stories. There's two that I can think of off the top of my head. One of them I remember from the Pat Campbell days, and one of them is semi-recently. But there was a guy who was a fertility clinic doctor, and he was responsible for reproducing with hundreds of women. And I want to say it was in Germany, or it was someplace in Europe. And I think there might've been a copycat or something like that in the United States too. I know that I can think of at least two guys, but the long and the short of it is the guy, instead of using the sperm of the husband, he would use his sperm, and that was that. And the only reason they found this out is because there was some sort of genetic cue or marker, or genetic disease or whatever that was traceable to all the children that he had. And then remember, this was 15, 20 years ago. So, he was very prolific. Now, was he an alpha male? He figured out how to reproduce. Technically, in a technical sense, even if he was just jerking off all the time and never had sex with any woman, he was still more prolific than most men are. So is he an alpha by that definition? I don't think so, but that's a story for another podcast. However, now this guy is out there. He's reproduced with all these women. They found him out. There's not really much they can do because the baby's already produced, and women lose their shit. When we talk about birth fraud for men, It's usually, I found out that the kid's not mine. I've been cuckolded. Shock, gasp, right? But we don't say, legalistically speaking, like if the gynecologist or the whoever did the blood test finds out that the biological father isn't actually the biological father, they are required by law to keep their mouths shut, because they know that if the guy, they presume, this is Duluth model feminism, by the way, they presume that guy will resort to violence in retaliation for being cuckolded, probably for 18 years and probably even more than that. And you think about the emotional investment. It's not just about the finances, by the way. It's not just about like, oh, I put 18 years of money into this chick. Then my daughter, who is not actually my daughter, and I sent her through college and it was $500,000. And yeah, that's significant. But what's more significant is having this bitch have you believe that that's your kid for as long as she did, and you're emotionally invested in that child now. And now you go, do you abandon that? Do you say, oh, all of those years when I taught you how to ride your bicycle and taught you how to walk and I taught you how to talk and I taught you how to read and I took you to piano recital and we went to Little League or whatever it was. That's the most fucked up part of that, not the money, the emotional investment in that. That's where ladies, if you are cuckolding your man right now, if you know goddamn well that baby ain't his, it's not the money. It's significant, but it's the emotional investment in that. Now, he'll probably still, because everybody believes, I'm the dad who stepped up. Now you're suddenly the stepdad. Who's the real dad? Oh, the guy you fucked in the foam cannon party in Cancun on spring break. You were drunk, he was cute, and one thing led to another. Okay. Maybe it wasn't that guy. Maybe it was somebody else. Maybe it was a fling. Maybe it was ever. By the way, my mom was the product of a fling. So just to clear the air here, I talked about this yesterday on my Instagram. But ladies, if you're cuckolding a guy, like do him the courtesy of telling him now. And as painful that's going to be, because women are so solipsistic when it comes to their control over the reproductive process that they believe it is their right not to be judged for cuckolding that guy, for leading not only him, but their child together to believe that he is actually the natural biological father. And he loves her and he's invested in her, all those memories and everything that goes into creating another human being. You are a fraud, ladies. You are just as fucked up as the guy who says, yeah, I'm going to marry a single mommy. But we don't say that. We don't think of that. We don't. So from a social, conventions perspective, you're still cool. You're all good. You just did what you had to do, girl. It was prudence. Guy does something like that. Now, here, the reason I brought this up is because it ties in with the birth control aspect of this, which is women control the human reproductive process, the selection process of human being, like certainly in first world countries, wherever there's the pill, right? Women have unilaterally controlled the human reproductive process for over 60 years. And you know where we're at? We're at where Bill Maher is talking about. We're at where, these men are just weaklings and pussies, and they've created, was it good times create weak men? No. Hormonal birth control and giving absolute unilateral control over of human reproduction over to women, that definitely creates weak men. Here we are 4 generations since then, and we're yucking it up with Bill Maher about, women really want guys who want the guys who are the exact polar opposite of who they claim that they want to be with. They want to fuck Jason Momoa. They don't want to fuck Seth Rogen or Seth. What the fuck's the guy's name? That's a fat dude's name. Chris Farley, whatever. They don't want to get with that guy. They don't want to get with the sensitive dude. They don't want to get with the female or the male feminist. They want to fuck the guy who's going to save the country. But we don't have them not because guys are falling down on the job. No, we're 4 generations in from women making primarily all of the reproductive choices for 4 generations. Why can't we see that? Why can't we just, it's nobody even wants to have that discussion. I've said before that, men and women, or when it comes to organizing society, men and women have gendered concepts of best practices. How do we do that? If you ask women, it's going to be one for you, one for you, one for you. Egalitarianism, communitarianism, socialism, and communism. And in that progression, women's psychology, psyches are attuned for communitarianism. They are the berry pickers. They are the social sex. They're the vulnerable sex. And as a result of that, they have to have a communal nature because there's strength in numbers, there's safety in numbers. We need a midwife. We need the sisterhood to help us because, boy, we don't want to die in childhood or childbirth or childhood. And so organizing society, when we say, okay, ladies, the show's yours. We're all of this that we made, you made it for 4 generations. And here we are. Right back where we started. Where are the real men? I want to fuck Jason Momoa and be married happily ever after. How come I can't find that guy? I want to be an independent too. Men need to step in and take over that. You want to know how? Okay, here, I'm going to leave you with some positivity because I'm told I'm very, very negative. So I'm going to give you the positive. Here's the positive strokes you've been looking for this whole entire show. Men, you need to take over. Simply put, you need to take over. You cannot ask for permission. You cannot ask for authority. Authority by its very nature can only be taken. It can either be earned or it can be taken. No one is going to give it to you. Oh, well, we fucked everything up, guys. So here, you have it back now. That's not going to happen with women. You give them that power and they're going to stay in that power. And the only way to get them out of it is a war in the Ukraine. That's why we're even having this conversation. If that never happened, we probably wouldn't even be discussing this. Bill Maher, and red pill as he may be, probably wouldn't have had this as a topic on his show were it not for women going, I really want to fuck the Vlad from the Ukraine. Now suddenly it's not toxic masculinity. Now he's sexy AF. And now we have and courtesy of the internet, we have the ability to read women's minds because they're more than happy to throw it out there. The women that we put in control. The women who have been in control really since we gave them unilateral power over the human reproductive process. Because when you go and you look at the drop in marriage, the sharp spike in divorce, and then the drop in divorce because the drop came with the drop in marriage, Duluth model feminism, transgenderism, social constructionism, blank slate equalism, communitarianism, socialism. Let's put more women into the workplace. What happened there? How come we're not as competitive? Oh, we're going to put women into the military. Now we're going to, and you just think to see this progression of what have we done? You want to talk about, we're in a degenerate society. Must be the elves. No, it's fucking you. It's everybody. It's every generation that has come since we gave and ceded that power over to women. How? There's your freaking gift. How is that like a revelation? Why can't we just go back and look and say, oh, looks like it started here. There's a spike. We laugh. We laugh when I present to you guys that graph of how women are on SSRIs, like antidepressants, and the spike that happened right around the time that the internet came around. Social media, boom. I wonder what happened. But we can't ask because to ask is to be judgmental. Why? Because women are in power and they don't want to be judged. They don't want to be held accountable. Why is fresh and fit such a hot topic right now? Why is holding women accountable? Why is the manosphere coming into vogue all of a sudden? Because it's something new. It's because we're like, well, I know it's offensive, but fuck it. We're going to be offensive because it's the only thing that's getting eyeballs on the screen right now. Oh, man. What did you say? Hey, Rollo, I learned about you from Fresh and Fit sometime last year. Oh, good. About your first book, and it formed the sentences I could never form. It articulated the words, my friend. Welcome. Welcome, my friend. Wait, you get something here. We got to give you something here.
Say my name.
I haven't used that yet. Say my name. I need to give that to Chris so when I'm out there, he'll have it ready to go. I gave my girlfriend Spanish fly, and now she's with the pool boy. Women would not take the pink pill. They would not take it. Because you know why? It removes control, selectivity over hypergamy. I don't want to fuck that guy. I want to fuck that guy. That guy, I'll take the pink pill. I don't need the pink pill. Why do I need the pink pill? I'm going to go with the holistic method. That guy's hot. I'm going to go fuck him. Well, why would I get a prescription for the pink pill? Your thoughts on contra? I already talked to you about that. Okay. Let me keep going. Did I have, what else was I going to talk about today? Oh, Gary V. Yeah, I'll talk about Gary V for a quick second. What are you talking about? Pilates? Is that Pilates? Is Pilates like a, I don't know. I know what Pilates is. Is Pilates an aphrodisiac? How about yoga? Hot yoga. There's an aphrodisiac for you. What's that? Is it Bikram yoga? I forget what it is. What's the hot yoga called? Hot yoga. It's not enough to be like painfully in these weird ass positions. Let's increase the temperature in the room to 104 degrees. Mormons and Catholics about to take over. You think? I don't think so. Idealism is falsehood in the face of necessity. Okay. Idealism is hope. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I got something else. What did you say? Funny you should mention Elden Ring. The most overpowered spirit in the game is called Omen Killer, Rollo. I don't know because I haven't played. Although CJ, our other guitarist in Trial of Ascension, he is like addicted to Elden Ring. I mean, maybe that's a strong word, but he plays it a lot. Maybe the Japanese read The Rational Male and put him in there as an Easter egg. I'm going to have to go look that dude up. Omen Killer. Of course, you're all going to look it up for me now. Hey, Rollo, I can't believe you didn't know anything about Elden Ring. Let's see. Let's see. Keep going. Somebody's got to give me that Kowalski analysis thing. I'd really love to have that. All right. Okay. I got two other things. Just like quick hits here. I want to talk about Gary V real quick. Because I mentioned this in one of the clips recently, and I said, okay, I know about as much about Gary V as you guys probably do. I know who he is. I'm well aware of the guy. I mentioned him on Rule Zero yesterday, so that's why I kind of wanted to drop this in here at the end. Gary V does not get with a piece of ass like that girl if he's not Gary V. I get it. Do you think now? Here's how I'm gonna wedge this in here. Do you think Gary V has kids with this chick? I bring that up because apparently, and I did not know this, but what's that girl's name who is the soon-to-be ex-wife of Scott Adams? That piece of ass? Does Scott Adams get that piece of ass if he's not Scott Adams? Probably not. But I don't think they have kids together, but now all of a sudden she's got cancer, and I don't know if it's cervical or if it's breast cancer or whatever. But she was just in a video not too long ago about how she thought that he was being resentful because she wouldn't fuck him, and now that she had breast cancer or this cancer or that cancer or whatever, now she was going to be even less inclined to fuck Scott Adams. Do you think, now this is, again, you could answer this in the comments later if you actually, thank you for watching the entire show, by the way. If you get to the end of the show, you can comment on this question. Does Gary V have kids with the new girl? She's 36, remember that. And if so, or I want to take bets, maybe we should have like a Deadpool, like how long it lasts, right? But do you think they get married? He remarries. I think he will. I think he'll try to marry this chick, the new one, the 36-year-old girl, not his ex, of course. The ex is going to walk away with probably $80 million, but maybe I'm thinking a little bit less than that because he can afford to hire some pretty good lawyers. Bezos didn't have to worry about hiring really good lawyers. He's just like, how much do you want? That's pretty much how it comes down to. He just wanted to get it done and get over with. The fastest divorce on planet Earth was Mackenzie Bezos and Jeff Bezos. But I think that it'll drag on a little bit longer with Gary Vee. But does he have kids with this girl? I don't think so. Scott Adams, definitely not having kids with this girl. But I didn't know this. She already had kids. Did you know that Scott Adams married this piece of ass and she already had children? Did you know that? I didn't know that. I didn't know that until a few weeks ago. Gary Vee, does he, okay. Question 1, does he marry the new girl? And if he marries the new girl, here's the follow-on question. If he marries the new girl, how long before they are in a sexless marriage, just like Scott Adams, regardless of money, regardless of satisfaction? How long? And if that's okay, and here's the side bet. If that's the case, how long before they're in an open marriage? And how long before Gary tries to like find some way to say, well, I'm a more masculine, secure guy because we're in a it'll happen. Hear me now, believe me later. Rollo, I learned that 80-20 not only applies to Tinder, but also in dance clubs and strip joints. Strip joints, I think, is what you were trying to throw out there. Let's see what else. Digi-meh. Notice how mad the girl got about Gary Vee's girlfriend. Yeah, because it's fear. Yeah, good observation, Digi. It's fear. It's existential fear. It's fear of loss of investment. Like when women, if you want to market to women, you always market to fear and self-security. That's pretty much the global for anything. But like certainly for women, fear of missing out is the most powerful marketing tool you can use to market to women. And that is, and the reason for that is because women fear opportunity cost, loss of opportunity cost and investment. Not all women can be the women who are waiting at the finish line, fucking the winners. The girl that's banging Gary Vee, she's one. She was the one at the finish line waiting for the winner to go across this finish line. Meanwhile, his wife of 20 years at least, like maybe 20 years, a little more than that, maybe. She's the one who invested in him, and she is the one suffering the investment loss, the opportunity cost loss. She invested her prime sexual agency years to get with a guy who looks like Gary Vee. Right now, don't take anything away from the guy. He's clearly successful, clearly worth what, 200 million, 160 million, clearly with a good chunk of change. You've certainly done the work, but one way or another. But the girl that he's with right now is the girl who was waiting at the finish line. But the woman he's divorcing, who never made it onto his Instagram page, that woman was the one who invested in him and took a chance on him and invested in his potential when she was probably much hotter and much more into having sex and much more. And I think they have children together. That the reason why it rubs women the wrong way, trophy wives rub women the wrong way, is because it's a loss of investment to a woman who looks like that. Yes, that's how it works. The kids are still living with Clot Adams. Come on. That shit ain't funny. Yeah, I guess it is.
Every time a man's being nice to you, all he's doing is offering dick.
Yep. 50,000 of the 50th anniversary of The Godfather. Oh, you mean the movie? You should do a breakdown. Okay. You want me to? That's one of those movies that I think certainly every guy should see, but that's one of those movies. Like if you live in the United States, that should be part of your high school education. Godfather 1 is red pill. Yeah, it was back in the day when you could actually get away with that shit. Godfather 2 is blue pill. Part one, Katie is aroused by the lifestyle. Girlfriend, she aborts her child. Oh yeah, that's right. God, I remember that. I haven't watched that movie in a while. I might watch it. I might do. You want me to? I'll do that. Women peak at 18. Well, according to Aristotle, they did. Remember, the best time for a man to marry is at 36 and the woman's at 18. It's been that way for a long time. Far be it from me to question the wisdom of the ancients. All right. Douglas, what do you got for me, Doug? Hi, Rollo. Elden Ring is a spiritual successor of Dark Souls. I'm playing while listening to you. Great. Omen Killer is hit kill. You hit it once and you die. Oh, so one punch. Look for Godric, First Lord. I'd say I have not played Elden Ring. I understand the popularity of it. Trust me, I hear about it all the fucking time. I don't even own a console, to be honest. Maybe that's too much information. I don't own a console. I don't play video games per se. I can't play first-person shooters because I have an astigmatism. Which means that when I was a young boy, I had 2 eye surgeries, and this was back when one eye was pulling the other, like the muscles are pulling the other over. So what they do is they go in and they clip they did this back in the day. They clip the muscles and then they're supposed to come back to even. And then what happened was the other one started pulling it. So I had 2 and I had to go in there and have corrective surgery on my eyes when I was 7 years old, something like that. And consequently, there's do you guys remember when you look at those works of art and they just look like a bunch of shit on there and you focus long enough and you can see some 3-dimensional thing? I can never see those because I have my one eye is a little bit wonky. I have prisms in these, by the way. But also I get sick when somebody's doing a first person video, or if I watch first person shooters, playing the game kind of thing, or when I first discovered it made me nauseous was when I would watch Bad Boys, the cops, Bad Boys, when I was watching that and you'd be running around with the worst movie in the world, Blair Witch Project, or Cloverfield, because it was all shot on first person cell phone thing, which is a cheap way of doing it. But that made me just physically ill because I just couldn't handle it. So consequently, the games I play are more strategy based. The game that I'm playing right now is I'm a beta tester, by the way, for Homeworld. I love Homeworld. So there's a Rollo tidbit for you. Can the human want for power be overridden by hypergamy? Yes. Women seem to want someone they can walk all over today more often than not. Okay, that's because remember that hypergamy has 2 sides to it, my friend. There's the alpha fuck side, which is the excitement side. It's the I want to go skydiving side of things. And then there is the beta buck side, which is security, long-term security. And in the long term, women are going to need security longer than they will be able to sustain alpha fucks and fun and excitement and everything else. So that's the difference between those 2. Now, is there a power in that? There's a power in that if women settle on a guy who does not know how to master women, which that's going to be my parting shot today. So we'll come back to that. Okay. Technological Chaos says, would women's indignation if trophy wife proved that women know their true ranking in dating marketplace, despite most rank? Are you like a bot? Despite most ranking themselves as 1 to 5. No, I have no idea where that's going. Trophy wives only exist because women fear loss of investment cost. My mom has tried to set me up with single moms. What did you say? And I gave her the breakdown of the reasons why I have no interest in them, and so she stopped. Well, good. Tell that bitch what's up. What is that here?
Tell that bitch to be cool. Say, bitch, be cool. Be cool.
Watching Rescue Me about the fire department in New York after 9/11, starring Dennis Leary. There's a good path. There's a good match. Lots of red pill themes mixed with comedy. Was too young to appreciate it back in 2005. Thank you. Hope Larry got to you too. Keep going. Anything else? Down a little bit more. There we go. Do a dip around. You think? Do a dip around 130 megahertz with a thin Q on your EQ. Okay, is my audio sounding weird to you guys? I don't know. All right, so let's go. Is it bad if a girl leaves her longtime boyfriend for another guy? Yes. Well, maybe. Is it good? Is it bad? That's a judgment call. Okay. I heard if she cheats with you, she'll cheat on you. Okay, you want me to tell you about cheating really quickly before I finish out? Because we got 5 minutes before 4 fucking hours. You guys get your money's worth today. Cheating requires 2 things. It requires a reason and an opportunity. Those are the 2 things. You have, well, and then a commitment, obviously. You have to be in a committed relationship in the first place to have that cheating thing happen. Okay. So if I'm married to you, if I imply exclusivity, even if for the most time, women will just presume exclusivity. But if there's implicit exclusivity that's implied in that relationship, there are two things that will imply cheating, infidelity, right? Opportunity and a reason. Okay. Rollo Tomassi has plenty of opportunity to cheat on his wife, but I have no reason to cheat on my wife. The home cooking is still freaking good, man. I still love it. Right. I got plenty of opportunity. I've had plenty of opportunity for certainly most of my career. I've had plenty of opportunity. Let's see, since I was 22. It's reason. And yes, have I cheated on girls? Yes. And all because of those two factors. Well, that bitch ain't fucking me, and I have opportunity to go bang other girls. There it is. I know. I've seen me do it. So that's really the nuts and bolts of infidelity. It's not hard to wrap your head around. Is it bad if a girl leaves her longtime boyfriend for another guy? Well, what that implies to me is that guy represents something that's that status. He's a hotter guy in bed. He's funner to fuck, whatever. There's a reason, and he's already the opportunity. There's a reason why she wants to get with that guy. Figure that out, and you can just say whether it's good or it's bad. It's good if she suddenly marries the guy and has family and has babies. Does that make it good? I don't know. That's a judgment call right there. I can tell you why it happens. You can give me whether or not you think it's a good idea or not. Damn, dude. You know what? How much have you spent with me today? Sorry for that. I was asking why do women's hate of trophy wives prove they know their rating in dating despite referring to themselves as 8 through 10s. Okay. So women's understanding of their own sexual market value compared to others based on their overinflated social media understanding of what they think is actually there, because they're 1 through 5, but they think should be their SMV. Is it a mistake, or is it a mismatch in understanding SMV? I'm probably most likely, but that's just the facilitator, man. That's what brings you to the yard. But the reason why they hate trophy wives is because they are a threat to investment and long-term security. Remember, women are the vulnerable sex. They need security and they can't generate that security without taking some drastic measures. And they can only get to that security when they are at their peak sexual market selectivity, which is usually their peak market years. They hate trophy wives because they're poaching. They're essentially through the guy and the woman, right? Like Gary Vee and his new hot piece of ass 36-year-old girlfriend. The girlfriend poached him from the 44-year-old ex-wife. That's what the fear is. Oh, well, he's just a typical male. That's apex fallacy, by the way. He's not a typical male. Typical males don't do that because typical males don't have the money that Gary Vee has, or the notoriety for that matter. Gary Vee is probably happy as a pig in shit because he's never been able to pull a hot piece of ass like this 36-year-old girl. And she's probably fucking him 7 ways a Tuesday right now. Yeah, I'm sure he's having $80 million. So that's what this is costing me. I'm in. Let's go. Because when he was 20, he sure as shit wasn't pulling that tail. And right up until he gets divorced, he wasn't pulling tail like that. You want to know why she's on the Instagram and the wife's not? Do I need to explain? All right, Alex, is there a better example of a blue pill man in American literature than Jay Gatsby? You mean the Great Gatsby? Gives his life to destroy his reputation, all for a woman who chose the man who treats her like crap. Yes, actually, that's a good example. I can give you a better one. Go watch The Last American Virgin from 81, 82. The kid that's in that movie who gets blown out for the hot guy in the foam cannon, essentially the hot guy in the foam cannon party. I don't know the character's name, but I would argue that he's probably more of a blue-pilled man than Jay Gatsby. Hello, would you have time for my earlier question? If I come back to it, hang on 1 second. If I don't, I'll get to it on the next one, next go around. Sorry, you guys have been really active today. Whoever used the term trophy wife because it's been a meme that's been around for more than 20 years. Yes, it has. More than 20 years. Yes, it was a trophy wife was something that came out in the 70s, 80s. And it used to be reserved for guys who were high value men, like executive class men, like the CEOs and the CFOs. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I know we got the 4 hours. You win, you fucking guys. But it's that term's been around for forever, but it hasn't lost its meaning. It still has the same meaning. It has the same reason we have that. Now, I'm going to leave you with this. A couple of things here. I'll do announcements later, but I do want to say this, as like I was saying before, I want to leave you with a little bit of positivity, but you don't get to positivity unless you are willing to resume authority. I did watch Bad Vegan. I watched that. I also watched Tinder Swindler. Okay. And my takeaway from, and this is just me, I'm spitballing once again. My takeaway from both of those shows was that the women who are in those shows are victims of their own, are really victims. If they're victims at all, they are victims of 4 generations of, we can't judge you. All the shit that went on in Bill Maher's video where he's like, oh, men need to man up and we need strong men and we need guys to we need their testicles to drop and sexless marriages and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, anything but women's nature. Right. Well, guess what, Bill? Here's my message, my final message for Bill and Matt Walsh, by the way. You don't get those men until you say, you know what, men, you need to take authority. And that is very threatening. You know what's going to help men with authority? Male birth control. Absolutely. Now, see how that's what I see. I'm a sneaky motherfucker. How it all gets together here. You will be able to have at least a fraction, a measure of new authority, at least in sexual selectivity. You certainly will. Women are going to have to cope. It's not like men are going to be like, God damn, don't have to worry about knocking her up, right? There's going to have to be an agreement between a couple and say, do we want babies? Are you good? Okay, I'm going to go off the pill and you're going to go off the pill. Good? We simpatico, or do we need to write this into our fucking marriage vows? Like, that's going to be a conversation that's going to have to be had, because both people have to say, yes, I'll have the kid. Think about this. Do you think that in with male controlled birth control, do you think that's going to drop the incidence of cuckoldry? I do. I think if guys stick to it anyways, it will drop the incidence of cuckoldry. And so, until it becomes sort of commonplace. Are we going to see single moms as a result of that? Think about, like when I was saying before, ladies, like if you have a child that's really not the biological father's child, you owe it to that guy, because the emotional fallout and everything that's downstream from that will fuck up not only the kid, but like the guy and your families as well. The longer you keep it this secret, and it's going to come out eventually. Somebody's going to take a DNA test, a 23andMe, or somebody's going to have some genetic thing or whatever. And or somebody's going to need a blood transfusion or an extra kidney or some shit like that. And you're like, oh, well, you should be a match. I don't know why. Let's find out. Oh yeah. You know who's not going to tell them? The doctors, because if they do, they get hit for malpractice. You have to tell them that. You have to tell him, sorry, honey, I fucked some other guy, and that kid that you've been raising for the last 18, 19 years, that's not actually your daughter. Imagine that shit, right? Now, imagine if you are the guy who is on birth control, your own birth control, and your wife is too, or your girlfriend is, and you go, hey, we want to have babies. Now it's compromise. Deal. Talk to my attorney. Okay, I'll talk to your attorney. You're talking to mine. Okay, babies? Babies. Okay, good. When are you going off the pill? Tomorrow. Okay, good. My client will be off the pill too. What about consent? Like consent to have like kids? Maybe that's the next conversation we have. But the fact remains is that the reason why men are incels or aren't going to college or aren't picking up a AK-47 or a AR-15 or whatever and defending their country, there's no incentive for them to do so. There's no authority attached to it. There's no power. There's no reward. There's no reinforcement. There's no, other than, hey, man, be a man. You're going to tell a generation of black pill incel doomers that you just berated at the end of your show, you're going to tell them, be a man? Hey, guys, get out there and fight. Because if you don't, women won't want to fuck you, and we're all going to die because an invading tribe is going to come in and take over our country. Well, why aren't you guys doing it? Why are you running away? You're just cowards. No, they don't see any incentive or any reinforcement or any reward for even bothering with that. Now, there might be like, fuck you, got mine, right? Come up, and sure, I'm sure that'll be a part of it. But primarily, there's no authority attached to that. I go out and let's just say for sake of argument, I'm in the Ukraine army. I go out there, I kick ass, and miraculously we boot the invading Russians out of our country. Do you think I come back to a country where the woman goes, oh, thank you. Oh, spread my legs for you. Do you think that happens? I don't think that happens. I think we go right back to where the fuck we were before. And you know what? That's in the back of the heads of every incel that has to go pick up an AR-15 to go and defend their country. There's no reward. There's no authority. There's no power. You can't even be the head of the fucking household. You're just dumb Homer Simpson. You're just borderline abusive. You're just incompetent fuck who can't change a tire for milady. Why on earth would you want to go pick up defend a country, defend women who have done nothing but shit all over you for generations? Why? Tell me what's my motivation here, director? Well, it's your masculine duty. You got to be a man. Well, let's see. I don't even know what a man. What is a man? A miserable piece of work. Or your Castlevania. They don't know and they don't care. Incels? Oh, well, was it 18 to 28 years old, 29 years old? You're not having sex. Oh, man, it must be because they're losers. Either that or they've got other things to do. Either that or they're sedated with porn or with whatever, weed. Video games. You go out there, get them bitches out there, let them go fight. If that's so important to them, let them go do it. Well, let me tell you something. What's going to happen is the more masculine men who are in, let's just say for sake of argument, in Russia, come over and they walk all over the feminized men in the United States or Ukraine or whatever. You know who's going to win the war? The guys who have the balls to go out there and kick ass and take names. The guys who are incentivized by their women, I should add, but they're incentivized not with money, not with pussy, but with authority. Oh, you went and fought in the Pacific in Guadalcanal? You were in Okinawa? Yeah, you can be the head of this fucking household. You went and fought the Germans in the Battle of the Bulge. Whatever. Yeah, you can be the head of the household. I defer to your authority. I defer to a guy who has the capacity for violence. That's what he was taught. That's the whole Bill Maher thing. That's not going to happen until men take authority back. And that is what is primarily at issue in the debate between emotionalism and empiricism. Because the moment we say this is what a woman is, they lose the argument, but they also have to cede authority to the person who won the argument, and that's men. And so, men, unless you're willing to take that authority back, we're just going to be stuck in neutral. Nobody's going to. What did I say last time? Hope is knowing what needs to be done, but waiting around is just waiting around for somebody to do what you already know needs to get done. And until we say, oh, it's a man's masculine responsibility to man up and to be a good father and to be a good husband and to it's your responsibility to man up because you owe women a better life. Fuck you. That's not going to happen. Matt Walsh, Bill Maher, Candace Owens, Hafiz. You know what they're going to tell you? Fuck you. That's what they're going to tell you because there's no why. What's the incentive? It's not sex, clearly. It's not the only incentive you could give these guys to man up and be better at to even like have any kind of like compromise between their wants and needs and dreams and everything, their passions and ambitions. Take all of that and you want to match that with a woman's who's already hubristic, who's already thinks that men owe them a better life to begin with because of feminism and gynocentrism and patriarchy and all that bullshit. You're not going to, the two sides of the MGTOWs versus the feminists, right? Like that. You're never going to get the two of them together with like flowery positivity. You know how you want to know? Here's how I'm going to tell you. Here's how you get them together. You give men fucking authority, and women have to be the ones to defer to that authority, because that's the natural state of things. And I'll explain to you why that is in the next podcast. Until you can tell that bitch on Dr. Phil's show with the big goiter tattoo and say, you're fucking wrong. And I'm going to tell you why you're wrong in no uncertain terms. And here it is, black and white. Here's the data. Here's the science. Here's the empirical evidence. I don't care how you fuck your feelings. Thank you, Godsod. Until you're willing to do that, you might as well just be stroking off with the rest of the incels that you want to shit on, because that's all you're doing. You might be making a little more money at it with your documentaries, but you're pretty much part of the problem until you're willing to do that. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to come on your shows. I'm willing to go on. For something like that, I'd probably go on Dr. Phil, right? You can come on my show. We can have this conversation, but you know what you're not going to get? You're not going to get, oh, I felt so good. I didn't feel good when I ended that conversation with Rollo. Yeah, it's definitely not going to taste good, because hard times create weak men. Weak men create, or what? Hard times create weak men. Weak men create, well, whatever the cycle is, right? God damn it. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create bad times. Strong, whatever. Hard times. Right? I think I got it right. Oh, well, we must be in that part of the cycle. Yeah, we are. How do we get out of that cycle? Well, we're going to continue like we're going to enjoy the decline until we hit rock bottom, or we can turn the fucking ship around. And the only way to do that is to tell that bitch on Dr. Phil to go pound salt. Send her packing. Send the bearded lady packing. Stop using their language. You want to know, how do I take the authority back? Stop using their language. Stop using, toxic masculinity, this. Don't even give credence to that. It's bullshit. It's a lie. It's a lie that's been around for forever. For as long as I've been around, I know that. And that's 50, soon to be 54 years. Stop perpetuating the lie. How do I take their power back, Rollo? How do I get authority back, even in just the smallest measure? Stop using their language. Stop talking about toxic masculinity. Stop. You hold women accountable. Okay, fine, but hold women accountable with a good amount of reason and destroy their arguments from an empirical perspective. Refuse to use the language of emotionalism. Only use the language of rational, empirical, objective realism. That's how you can do it. That's one small do. I'm doing my part. Like, that's how you do your part. You want the authority back? I don't know how to get it entirely, but I know where to start. And that's not like giving them credence, giving that aspect credence. Also, it's also identifying emotionalism versus empiricism. That's why Matt Walsh fails. Or maybe he does observe it, but he just doesn't recognize it because he knows that's where his bread is buttered. So there you have it. Rollo, at what stage or time in natural history did women become hypergamous? 200,000 years ago on the sub-Saharan African savannas in hunter-gatherer tribes. That's when it started. I'm guessing the formation of hypergamous instincts predates human species. Yes, when we were protozoas, the female protozoas only wanted the top 20 percentile. Yep. You got me. You got me.
Say my name.
So anyways, okay. Don't forget, we have it. The Red Pill Lions NFT will go live on May 1st. We changed the date, by the way. We got such an overwhelming response on the Discord server, which, by the way, is the Discord server link correct? Somebody said earlier, way 4 hours ago, somebody said that the Discord server the link was incorrect. I'll double check on that, but we have a Discord server. If you want to get on the white list, that's how you do it. You can get information from Rocky Savo there, and Kevin Savo's there as well. Tomorrow is Money Monday on Fresh and Fit, and Myron is going to give us a quick plug and a drop on that as well. So if you want to look and see the video and everything, I don't have time to give you the full video right now, although I think I'm probably going to just do it as a one-off on this channel so everybody gets an idea. It's possible on Wednesday I will have the Savo brothers in here again. We might be talking about that, or we might be talking about just something else. CME is coming up. It is on May 19th through the 22nd. I will be there on the 16th through the 23rd. I am already looking into a fishing charter for at least one of those days. I got room. I generally have room for 6 people. And I know Tom, my boy Tom, who does my clips, he's going to be in. Most likely Sterling Cooper will be on. So that leaves 3 more open. It's a possibility that Jay Waller might join us, but if I can book it to 6 or 7, I will do that. If you're part of my Patreon community, if you're at the top tier, you're going to get first dibs at that. I won't charge you anything for it. You just come on and hang out. If you're an NFT holder and you want to come on the fishing trip, I will hold one for you as well. I got to make some tangible benefits. I'm willing to do that. And if I got to book a second trip, you twist my arm. I'll go fishing twice. That'll be in Miami. So if you haven't taken your time off from your PTO, from your cubicle farm job, please do so now. It's going to be one of the best events. This is the event that I wanted to see happen, and now it's happening. It's in Miami. As a possibility, it might even be held at the Centric. I'm not sure yet, but that would be a lot of fun. I will be in Phoenix next week. It is a possibility that I'm going to do this show live on Sunday from the Rich Dad podcast studio. There's a chance, there's an outside chance that might happen. So I might be doing this show live. It'll still be on this channel. I'll just come back here, but I'll be doing the show live, but we might be doing it from Robert Kiyosaki's channel. Or it's a possibility I might be with Ken McElroy, but we'll be doing that. So you guys get a hot bonus next week. That was the big announcement. So I will be there in Phoenix. I'm going to be there until Tuesday, April 5th. My birthday is April 2nd. I will be hanging out with Robert Kiyosaki and a few notables. I will be having a sort of a lively debate with some people from ASU, Arizona State University. So, and I'll explain to you why that is in a little while here too. But there's also a chance that I might be doing some, let's just say some back and forth, some lively spirited debate with some people from PragerU. You take that how you want to. And then, so Sunday, that's a possibility. I will definitely be doing live streams while I'm in Phoenix. If I have a chance, and if he would get back to me, Razor Fist, I would very much like to do a show with you, like maybe on Monday. Please, Razor Fist, do a show with me. I love you. We could play BattleTech. I could bring BattleTech miniatures. You want me to, we should do a BattleTech game. I would do that. Anyways, all right, guys, that's it. That's all I got. Wednesday will be the next show. It'll either be a quick hit thing or I will bring on Rocky and Kevin again, although we'll see. We're not just, I want to do a show with these guys that's like not just like, hey, guys, buy our NFT. So that's coming up. What else do I got coming? Oh, book 5, of course. Book 5 will be out the first week of April. If I'm trying to time this so that it coincides with my birthday. So I'm just saying April 2nd. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. We'll see what happens. But I'm waiting for galley prints to come back from like the print proofs to come back so I can sign off on them and get things out. So it's coming very soon. Book's done, ready to go. So I will see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you for watching, and I will see you. Wait, oh, where did it go? Hold on. I got to give you the last little bit here. Where did it go? Where's my other one? Oh, I'll give you the outro music. There it is. Bye.